These boys of summer have a lot to think about this fall as they near what could be their final battle of October. A memory or two about the way it used to be here on the shores of Lake Ontario. There was snow on the ground opening day, April 1977, and it wasn't until '85 that they played in the postseason. Yes, they'd had some October successes, but they just couldn't get to where they wanted to be. And where boys of summer want to be is in the Fall Classic. Guess what, folks? Here they are. Funny how these things work out. One day everybody's doubting you. The next day you are dazzling them with confidence. This night in Canada, America's most prized trophy could go to the Blue Jays. And if it does, you might hear them say, "It's about time." Well, Canada is preparing to pop the cork on a celebration that's been bottled up for over a decade and a half. With their Blue Jays perched a game away from the World Series title, the good folks north of the border are bubbling over with confidence and pride. Tonight, they look to their baseball team for a victory that transcends a game and even a championship. But the pressure is clearly on the Braves. If they win, the series moves back to Atlanta. A loss tags them with that old "you can't win the big ones" label. And so how will you label tonight's emotions? Tears of joy or tears of sorrow? Give you the best ticket in the house as we bring you on into SkyDome for Game 5 of this International Fall Classic. Hi again, everybody. I'm Pat O'Brien. Welcome to our CBS Sports continuing coverage of the 1992 World Series tonight. The Toronto Blue Jays are within one win of keeping this trophy. In fact, they've already picked out a spot to display it in their front office. So as we get right to work here, let's lay it right on the line for Atlanta. Only 5 teams have ever come back from a 3-1 deficit in a best-of-7 World Series. And earlier today, our Jim Cott spoke with Braves manager Bobby Cox about that.
Well, you still have to play the game like a normal game, I think. You can't make too many quick hooks on pitchers or anything. You know, if they've got their good stuff, you got to let them go ahead and go with it. But we've got a full bullpen out there tonight. We may see some pitchers, but I think John Smoltz is strong enough to go ahead and carry us through at least 7 innings tonight. And our club has won more than 3 in a row before, so you know, actually the pressure's on Toronto now to hold the lead, and that's the way we felt against the Pirates. We were up 3-1, and they came back on us and darn near beat us, and that's what we need to do here.
Last night's game, you had an opportunity to pinch hit for Jeff Blauser with Sid Bream on the bench. That thought ever enter your mind?
Well, I've never hit for Jeff Blauser. Blauser is a legitimate hitter, and I love to see him up with men on base. He's one of the top hitters in our ball club, and, you know, lefty-righty, you go with that sometimes, but it doesn't make any difference. And Jeff hit the heck out of that ball, and I don't know to this day why Olerud was playing on the line right there. That was a game winner, and Jeff hit that ball well, and I've never pinch hit for Jeff.
And our trophy, Jim Cott joins us now. Kitty, is he making the right moves in this series?
Well, I think you can always look back at a manager's moves and say they were the wrong ones. It's dictated by how the players perform. I think the Braves' pitching has gone unnoticed in this series opposed to Bobby Cox's move. Their pitching has been outstanding. I think it's been a base running mistake, Terry Pendleton in Game 3, and just a few breaks that have not gone their way opposed to Bobby Cox's moves.
Well, tonight's pitchers, Kitty, are a pair of familiar foes, John Smoltz of the Braves and Jack Morris of the Blue Jays. They dueled each other in Game 7 of last year's World Series. Last year, Morris pitched for his hometown team, the Twins, and he shut out Atlanta for 10 innings to earn a World Series ring and the MVP trophy. In the offseason, Toronto acquired him to win the big ones for them. Big ones like tonight's Game 5. Morris has already made his mark as the first 20-game winner in Toronto history, and now he could be the first player in nearly 4 decades to pitch and win the clincher in back-to-back World Series as he goes back-to-back. I talked to him earlier.
Because of the success I've had, I became an instant hero. And you know, it's something you relish because everybody wants to do good and everybody wants to have everybody like them. But unfortunately, when you don't quite do as well, even though the effort is still the same, the other side of the spectrum comes hitting you, and you got to deal with both of them. I don't think personally the effort's been any different, but the way the reaction has been different.
I must say that he's awfully loose tonight. What about Jack Morris?
Well, let me tell you about Jack Morris. He may look a little more hittable to the Braves hitters tonight than Juan Guzman or David Cone or the Toronto bullpen, but he has a way of games like this, and that's why they signed him. Even if he gives up 3 or 4 runs early, he'll come in and say, hitters, let's see how good you are. They may come back with 5 or 6. That's what he's meant to this ball club, and that's the way he has won 20 games for this team. Nobody they'd rather have on the mound in a clinching game than Jack Morris.
His face on there. You know, if there's any pitcher the Braves want in this situation, a pressure situation, it's John Smoltz. He pitched well in Game 2, but the Braves bullpen came up short on John.
Well, you're right. Last year's Game 7, John Smoltz's performance went unnoticed because he was overshadowed by Jack Morris, that 1-0 win in 10 innings. John Smoltz's postseason record is phenomenal, and like Jack Morris, Atlanta would like to have Smoltz on the line in a game like this, which is, in essence, their 7th game.
I would bet they never made you carry your bags to the ballpark. We come back here, we'll discuss whether the Atlanta Braves can come back as Baseball 92 rolls on for all of North America here on CBS.
CBS Sports coverage of Game 5 of the 1992 World Series is brought to you by Michelin, because so much is riding on your tires.
Weekend. No tie, no briefcase, just plastic.
It all boils down to this. No other card you can carry is accepted in more places and in more ways.
Food.
At home and abroad.
I got it.
Than MasterCard. It's the only card you need.
Rooms.
MasterCard.
Not a bad day's work.
Master the moment.
It is called trickle-down economics. It assumes lower taxes on the rich create prosperity that trickles down to all the American people. Instead of a sound economic principle, it turned out to be political voodoo. Trickle-down simply didn't trickle. In this election, you can vote for a candidate who has the experience to put the free enterprise system to work for the people, creating jobs, building businesses. A candidate who will not play politics, but will get down to the business of expanding the tax base, reducing the national debt, putting America back to work. This is no time to waste our votes on politics as usual. It is time for a candidate who will get down to business. It is time for Ross Perot.
Something dirty's going on in Rome, Wisconsin.
We're dealing with a serial bather.
Can the sheriff break the crime ring?
Catch him.
Before there's another bathtub ring, picket fences Friday.
For every home run hit in the series, Coke and Major League Baseball will give $5,000 to build and renovate youth baseball fields through the Coca-Cola Homers for America program.
Welcome back, and we looked it up. Cyanocida cristata. That's the textbook way to describe those bright blue crested birds, commonly called blue jays. Those of you who've been watching these flighty jays in this high-tech nest are in a festive mood tonight, and we talked about this great sense of anticipation with some of the players.
We haven't had a real meeting or anything. Everybody seems to be really focused. They know what they have to do.
And so we don't really need any big pep talk. But we'll talk a lot of trash before we come on the field.
You're this far.
Yeah, that's close. So we don't take anything for granted. Tough team over there. We're going to come at them. We don't really want to get on a plane.
We're very confident. We're not as confident. We're not confident like we feel we just go out there and throw our gloves out there. But you know it's going to be a tough game because Smoltz is a tough pitcher. But the momentum's on our side. We're excited. We're pumped up. The fans are going to be pumped up. This place is going to be jumping, and we hope to get it done tonight.
Joe also told me, he said, jump on my back, boys. We're going for a ride tonight. Of course, correlation has no effect on causation, but for whatever it's worth, we offer this statistic. The National League has never won a World Series game in a dome stadium. Last night's loss made it 0 for 10. This stat does not have meaning for Terry Pendleton of the Braves. He has suffered through each of those losses, and he's run out of hands on which to count them.
I'm real disappointed right now because we haven't got, I haven't gotten that big ring. But my biggest focus tonight is just go out and win. We win tonight, and it sets it up for Saturday for us. So my biggest focus is tonight. I don't want to lose tonight. Believe me.
Understated indeed. What about the Braves coming back tonight?
Well, you think I'm crazy, right? But I think if the Braves can win Game 5 and go back to Atlanta, they're in pretty good shape because they have Steve Avery and Tom Glavine, two guys that could close the deal for them. They're not as bad off as you might think if they win tonight.
I don't think you're crazy. Might be some Toronto fans who think you're crazy. Kitty, a sad note in baseball today. One of the immortals passed on. Red Barber, the man who called the first televised baseball game and the first televised World Series game. The old redhead was perched in the catbird seat for 33 years. He was indeed a broadcasting pioneer.
Red taught me to take the blinders off, not to concentrate on just baseball, because words were our tools, words were weapons, words were paintbrushes.
Barber and Mel Allen were the first Ford Frick Award winners, tantamount to the induction in the Hall of Fame.
You're not going to have any friends with the newspapermen. I said, why? He said, because you're going to make them go to work. Because you're giving out every detail, pitch by pitch. They can't just sit up and write now that the Reds won yesterday over the Phillies 2-1. They're going to have to start writing. They're going to have to go to the clubhouse. They're going to have to interview ball players. You're going to make them go to work, and they're not going to like you.
One of the great voices of baseball has fallen silent. Red Barber was 84.
I'll get the cereal, honey.
Morning. You'll love this cereal.
Where'd you come from?
A different time when grains were kept whole for the natural hearty taste. Great grains. Toasted wheat, oats, and barley. Kept whole. Full of flavor.
Pecans, dates, raisins.
Enjoy it with the missus.
Thanks.
Great. Where'd you get this?
Mind if I tell her?
What was great back then is great grains now. A great cereal from Post.
Here's where Alka-Seltzer Plus fights tough colds.
With tough congestion.
Tough aches.
Tough sore throat.
This is why you need a tough medicine. Alka-Seltzer Plus Cold Medicine. The leading cold pill only relieves congestion, but Alka-Seltzer Plus relieves congestion, sore throat, headache, body aches. That's tough medicine.
You bet it's tough.
Alka-Seltzer Plus Cold Medicine. It's tough medicine. For a cold with a cough, try Alka-Seltzer Plus Cold and Cough Medicine.
Let it snow. You've got Michelin's new all-season MXV4. The luxury performance tire with a very special feature. Climate controlled. Michelin. Because so much is riding on your tires.
What is breakfast for your head?
It's Your Health with Dr. Bob Arnott.
The Economy with Robert Krulwich.
Your Money with John Stair.
The Movies with Gene Siskel.
Consumer News with Hattie Kaufman.
And the Weather with Mark McEwen. Join Harry Smith and Paula Zahn on CBS This Morning.
It's breakfast for your head.
After the players made headlines with Game 4 last night, we decided to go read them hot off the press. Toronto in the midnight hour.
Jays won it 2-1. Hit it.
And here comes the sun. Our brethren in the print media have chronicled quite a tale, and this is the banner headline that greeted all of Toronto this morning. Meantime, down in Atlanta, the printers went about their jobs with equal professionalism, if not exactly equal optimism. And we'll press on here after a word for your local station. Stay with us.
Except for the music, everything in his life was off the record. Until now. Sinatra, the music was just the beginning.
This is CBS.
Imagine, what if all travel accommodations were as cramped as airlines usually are?
First time with us? Watch the head. Yes, indeed. All the comforts of home. Your bed, sir. Yes, indeed. And stereo TV, too. Watch the head.
At Alaska Airlines, we think space is essential even when you fly. So we give you, on average, a couple of inches more leg room than the major airlines do.
For 10 winters, a small herd of bighorn sheep has been in a slow, mysterious decline, and without help, could disappear forever. But people nearby are providing food to nurture them and medication to help heal them. Do people need to look after their neighbors so nature can grow strong? People do.
The styling of the Infinity Q45 has a beauty that increases as time passes. The interior offers a lasting pleasure, an enduring luxury, which is important because when it comes to a luxury car, as well as most other things in life, infatuation is easy. True love is what takes a little time.
Wise Guy, tonight at 9 on Channel 2.
Time now for Americans and Canadians to sing their national anthems and to introduce tonight's guest artist. Here is SkyDome public address announcer Murray Eldon.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome MCA recording artist Lyle Lovett and his large band as they perform the American National Anthem. Lyle is accompanied by the U.S. Marines Color Guard and the Metropolitan Toronto Police Color Guard. Here to sing the Canadian National Anthem is Canadian award-winning BMG recording artist Prairie Orster.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all that
get ready. Game 5 of the 1992 World Series is coming up here on CBS.
CBS Sports coverage of Game 5 of the 1992 World Series is brought to you by Oldsmobile, the power of intelligent engineering. Miller Lite, it's everything you want a beer to be. And by Magnavox, smart choices for smart people. The ingenious products from Magnavox. They're smart, very smart.
In Europe, things happen on time, right on schedule. Punctuality is the norm. And that makes Europe the ideal environment for UPS. Fact is, UPS has built the most comprehensive delivery network in Europe. So when you have a shipment going there that has to be on time, use the delivery company whose punctuality is a time-honored tradition. UPS. We run the tightest ship in Europe.
1988. We will be able to produce 30 million jobs in the next 8 years.
Under George Bush, more private sector jobs have been lost than have been created.
And I am an environmentalist.
The Sierra Club says Bush allowed his administration to, quote, gut clean air rules.
I want to be the education president.
George Bush tried to cut college aid for families making over $20,000 a year.
I want a kinder and gentler.
We can't afford 4 more years.
Make it clear. Make it colorful. Make it both. The DeskJet 550C. With DeskJet printers from Hewlett-Packard, it's easy to make it happen.
We're in the money. We're in the money. We've got love. We're in the money. The skies are sunny. We've got a lot of what it takes.
Autumn, a time when trees cast new colors. A time for sharing warmth. And at McDonald's, we're doing just that. Sharing the warmth of our new oven-baked apple pies. A cinnamon-dusted crust with golden, delicious apple filling. And now when you buy one, your local McDonald's donates 25 cents to Ronald McDonald Children's Charities, who bring warmth and hope to kids everywhere. Try our new baked apple pie. It's a delicious way to warm your heart.
Welcome back to SkyDome. You know, a couple of miles down the road here is Exhibition Stadium, where it all began for the Blue Jays 16 years ago. And now, a week before Halloween, you just know that those ghosts are begging to be set free. Sean McDonough and Tim McCarver, give us some goosebumps tonight, fellas.
Thank you, Pat, and good evening, everybody. Certainly last October, Jack Morris gave baseball fans everywhere goosebumps with his shutout of Atlanta in Game 7 of the World Series for Minnesota. Well, tonight, as Toronto goes for its first ever World Championship, Morris tries to make history by becoming the first man to win the deciding game of consecutive World Series for 2 different teams. And tonight in Game 5, he'll be opposed by the same man who was on the mound for the Braves in Game 7 last year, John Smoltz. Tim, the big difference in this World Series on the field, the home runs, 5-1 in favor of Toronto.
And home runs certainly the story in the first 2 games, both teams 1-1. But in the last 2 games, 4 important plays by the Toronto Blue Jays have really turned victory for Toronto. 2 nights ago, the most important play in this series thus far. With runners at first and second, nobody out in the 4th inning, the remarkable catch by Devon White, doubling off Terry Pendleton at second. And remember the sacrifice in the 8th inning, moving Roberto Alomar to third base. That was only the 2nd sacrifice of the year by Dave Winfield. And Toronto went on to win that game and take a 2-1 edge. Last night, Otis Nixon of the Braves leads off with a single, and he is picked off by Jimmy Key, setting the tone for the evening. Later on last night in the 8th inning, Mark Lemke's ground ball off the leg of Jimmy Key, and a remarkable play and recovery by Kelly Gruber. And then Dwayne Ward and Tom Hinkie came in to do their usual stellar job in the bullpen. And Sean, speaking of the bullpen, you said before the series started that Toronto had the edge there, and it's certainly proven that way thus far.
Indeed it has. The Toronto relievers have combined to pitch 9 scoreless innings. They've allowed only 1 hit in 27 at-bats. While Atlanta's bullpen has been called upon to pitch only 2 innings, they've allowed 2 game-winning hits. One man who never allowed a game-winning hit is our Jim Cobb.
Yeah, not more than a couple of hundred. I'll tell you guys, this crowd
is primed to celebrate. And the early innings of every game are important, but especially this one. If John Smoltz can be effective early, Atlanta gets a few runs on the board, you'll quiet this crowd down and give Atlanta a little confidence that they can go back home for 6 and 7. If they don't and the Blue Jays get off early, you may see a repeat of the way they blew out Oakland in the American League Championship Series. Sean?
Thank you, Jim. The starting lineup tonight for the Atlanta Braves. Otis Nixon leads off in center field. Deion Sanders back in the lineup in left field. Terry Pendleton is the third baseman. Batting cleanup, the right fielder, David Justice. Lonnie Smith, the DH, batting fifth. Batting sixth at first base, Sid Bream. The shortstop, Jeff Blauser, hits seventh. Batting eighth and doing the catching, Damon Berryhill. And the second baseman, Mark Lemke, bats ninth.
And the defense for the Toronto Blue Jays, Candy Maldonado will be in left field. Devon White, we mentioned his remarkable play 2 nights ago. He's the center fielder. Joe Carter, the right fielder this evening. And we mentioned Kelly Gruber's fine play last night. He'll be at third. Manuel Lee at shortstop. Roberto Alomar at second base. John Olerud will be the first baseman. And the leading hitter on either side, Pat Borders, behind the plate this evening.
And on the mound, Jack Morris, who pitched 10 shutout innings against Atlanta in Minnesota's 1-0 win in Game 7 of the World Series last year. Jack was not as effective in his only appearance in this World Series. He was the loser in Game 1, victimized by the 3-run homer by Damon Berryhill in Atlanta's 3-1 win, the Braves' only win in this series. Toronto has won the last 3 games in this World Series, all 3 of them decided by 1 run. And a sellout crowd is on hand hoping to watch Toronto deliver the first ever Baseball World Championship to Canada. Otis Nixon leads off. He's 3 for 16 in the World Series. Kelly Gruber in front of the bag at third. Jack Morris with the first pitch of Game 5, slapped by Gruber at third. He was right on top of the line and still couldn't get it. A fan did, and Otis Nixon leads off with a double on the first pitch of the game. You might recall in Game 1 he singled on the first pitch of the game thrown by Jack Morris.
That is only the 4th extra base hit of the series for Atlanta.
The umpires working this one. Bob Davidson of the National League behind the plate. John Shulock at first base. Jerry Crawford at second. Mike Riley at third. Joe West calls the plays along the left field line, and Dan Morrison in right. Now Deion Sanders, 4 for 7 in the World Series. Despite the fact that he has appeared in only 2 of the first 4 games, he has more hits than any other Atlanta player. Chased the high hard one and missed. 1 strike on Sanders.
You saw what happened when Kelly Gruber played in with Otis Nixon. That's one of the advantages for a left-handed batter. If you have a controlled swing to the left side, you can often spank it by that third baseman who's drawn in. He's got to play in for the bunt.
Off-speed pitch. Sanders fooled badly. 0-2. Bobby Cox. Watch the Kansas City Royals come from 3 games to 1 down to defeat his Toronto Blue Jays in the American League Championship Series in 1985. He's hoping his Braves can do it to the Toronto Blue Jays in the 1992 World Series.
He also saw the Pittsburgh Pirates almost come back from a 3-1 deficit. Were it not for that remarkable 9th inning Francisco Cabrera hit last Wednesday.
Again, Morris had Sanders way out in front of the tantalizing off-speed pitch for the first out of the night.
One changeup, and now the split finger that goes down. And remember, Deion Sanders did not face Jack Morris in Game 1. He was not a starter. Ron Gant was. So it's all new to Deion Sanders as he fails to move Otis Nixon.
Terry Pendleton, the batter.
The Atlanta Braves have, throughout this series, they have had their leadoff batter on 10 times, including Nixon's double, and they have plated them 4 times.
First pitch to Pendleton, a fastball for ball 1. Terry's hitting just 188. He's 3 for 16 in the series. Bobby Cox says the key members of his lineup are not slumping. It's a matter of the Toronto Blue Jays pitching very well. 1 ball and 1 strike. Nixon takes off for third, and he'll steal third as the pitch was in the dirt. So Otis Nixon has the stolen base, his 4th in the World Series, without being caught.
With 1 strike on Terry Pendleton, he had planned on taking this pitch all the way, even though Otis Nixon was going to third base. He saw the jump that Nixon had, and he was willing to take a strike to get 2 strikes on him to get Nixon to third base. Stolen base number 4 for Nixon during this series.
And the 12th for the Atlanta Braves. Pat Borders has only thrown out 1 base stealer. He was stunned a bit by that ball in the dirt. The infield is in for Toronto. With a runner at third and 1 out in the top of the first. No score in the ball game. The 2-1 to Pendleton is fouled straight back. Jimmy Williams, the Atlanta third base coach. Now the 2-2 pitch. Late swing and a foul ball off to the left.
With the infield in and a runner at third and less than 2 outs, the third base coach will tell the runner, make the ball go through. But you're on your own if it's a high chopper. If you can determine that the ball is going to be chopped high, then you're on your own to try to score.
Another 2-2 to Pendleton. High and away. You saw David Justice on deck. Pendleton without an RBI in the World Series. He was the leading hitter in baseball during the regular season with runners in scoring position. Now the payoff pitch. Slapped out of play. Certainly the Toronto Blue Jays have pitched very well as a staff in this series, but Jim Leland made the point in the playoffs about the need for big players to rise to the occasion in big games, and certainly in this series, batters 3, 4, and 5 in the Atlanta lineup have not, including Pendleton.
As a matter of fact, the 3, 4, and 5 batters for Atlanta have no extra base hits in this World Series. No series has ever had the combination 3, 4, and 5 hitters without an extra base hit. Not in 89 World Series.
Another payoff pitch. Bounced down the line, fair ball, and the Braves take a 1-0 lead. Pendleton on his way to second, and he is there safely with the second double of the inning.
And that erases that little note, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Otis Nixon's double was inside the third base line, and Terry Pendleton's is inside the first base line. Atlanta takes the lead early.
First RBI in the World Series for Pendleton. And the first extra base hit from an Atlanta number 3, 4, or 5 hitter. Another man in scoring position, still only one out. The infield shift on for David Justice, who took ball one outside. The shortstop Manuel Lee pulled over to the right side of the infield. Justice 2 for 12 in the series. Justice has walked 4 times, more than any other player.
Look at the earned run average of Jack Morris in the first inning. So Jack has a tough time getting on track, and that has proven to be the case here in the first, with Pendleton at second and 1 out.
The 1-1 pitch. Missed low as again Morris changed speeds. 2 balls and a strike. Cito Gaston was remarkably relaxed before the game as we visited with him in his office.
You can afford to be relaxed when you're up 3 games to 1. Have a little cushion.
That was Gene Tennis alongside one of the Toronto coaches. Foul tipped in and out of the mid of borders. 2 balls and 2 strikes on Justice.
It happens every 10 years for Gene Tennis. He was the most valuable player in 1972 for Oakland. He also played in the World Series, a winner for the St. Louis Cardinals in 1982, and he's back as a coach here in 1992.
1972, Johnny Bench said the Cincinnati Reds didn't even have a scouting report for Gene Tennis. He was such an obscure player, but he was forced into action and hit home runs in his first 2 at-bats, the only player in World Series history to do that. Jack Morris trying to make World Series history himself tonight. The Braves lead 1-0. We're in the top of the first, and Justice strikes out on the fastball. Second strikeout in the inning for Jack Morris.
This is a fastball over the outside part of the plate, and that's what happens to the hitters when you start looking for that splitter. What would normally be a hittable fastball becomes much faster because you're looking for a slower pitch. He just blew that ball right by Justice.
Lonnie Smith, the DH again tonight. 1 for 8 in the series. Fastball high and tight. So again tonight, Ron Gant is the odd man out of the Atlanta starting lineup, with the right-handed Jack Morris on the mound. Pendleton at second with 2 down. 1 run in here in the first for Atlanta, and that was by Nixon and Pendleton. There's a fly ball, pretty well hit, but room for Carter in right center. That ends the inning. The Braves get 1 off Jack Morris in the first. After half an inning, Atlanta 1 and Toronto coming up.
July 1992. Oldsmobile redefines quality. The Oldsmobile Achieva went head-to-head against Honda Accord and Toyota Camry in a 100,000-mile real-world test. The independent test results prove Achieva beat them both with lower total cost, which consists of maintenance, repair, and operating costs. Quality has been redefined by Achieva and the company that went far enough to prove it. Oldsmobile, the power of intelligent engineering.
Let me show you where it's at, come on. Oh, come on. Let me show you where it's at, come on. Ooh, come on. Let me show you where it's at. Cold Miller Lite is a nice cold fast. Ooh, I like it like that. From the top to the bottom to everything in between, Miller Lite is brewed from the start to be the one great tasting beer that's less filling. It's everything you want a beer to be. Cold Miller Lite, I like it like that.
He has challenged the politics as usual candidates and has a plan to take back our country. He's outlined the problems which face us, and he has presented concrete solutions. What will he do next? Find out Saturday at 8 Eastern, 7 Central.
Under Siege. Gene Siskel and Ebert declares Under Siege is one of the best times you're going to have at the movies this year. 2 thumbs up. Siskel and Ebert. Steven Seagal. Under Siege. Rated R. Now playing at a theater near you.
So last Sunday, the Eagles swagger into RFK Stadium, and the Redskins say, "Hello, welcome to our nation's capital." Now, the Skins have to visit Minnesota, who've got this great new coach, Dennis Green. This guy's got the Vikings off to their best start in eons. Happiness. Sunday on CBS. I'm a big fan.
Center fielder Devon White leads off for the Toronto Blue Jays tonight. Roberto Alomar is the second baseman. Batting third in right field, Joe Carter. Dave Winfield is the DH batting cleanup. John Olerud at first base bats fifth. Batting sixth in left field, Candy Maldonado. Kelly Gruber is at third base hitting seventh. The catcher, Pat Borders, bats eighth and hitting ninth. The shortstop, Manuel Lee.
John Smoltz is 2-0 during this postseason, and for his career, he is 4-0 with a 2.04 earned run average. He worked 7 1/3 innings in Game 2, and last year against Jack Morris, he worked 7 1/3 innings, allowing no runs. That game won by the Minnesota Twins 1-0 in 10 innings.
1-0 Atlanta as the Blue Jays bat for the first time in Game 5. Devon White, 4 for 17. Smoltz first pitch fouled out of play. White had 3 of those 4 hits last night, 2 singles and a double. He drove in a run. Off-speed pitch this time. Smoltz missed low, 1-1. Check swing, that's on the corner, says Bob Davidson. White did not agree. I think what you said at the outset was right on the money. The key play of this series to date, the catch by Devon White off David Justice in Game 3. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Smoltz with a perfect 4-0 record in postseason action. He's one of 8 pitchers in Major League history who are undefeated in postseason play with at least 4 wins. Lefty Gomez with the best record along those lines at 6-0. Still 2-2 on Devon White. Smoltz just 25 years old. He's from Detroit. Check swing and a ball low.
That's one of the remarkable things about this Atlanta pitching staff. Steve Avery, 22. Tommy Glavine, 26. Pete Smith, 26. John Smoltz, 25. They're not only good, they're going to be good for a long time.
Payoff pitch to the leadoff hitter. He blew him away with the fastball. John Smoltz, who was the National League leader in strikeouts in the regular season, strikes out the first Toronto batter of the night.
He had 215 during the regular National League season, and you can see how he generates that power with the lower part of his body. All fastball power pitchers obviously have good arms, but they also have strong lower parts of their bodies.
Alomar chopped the first pitch to short. Blauser threw him out. 2 down.
The defense for the Atlanta Braves, Deion Sanders in left field. There's Deion. Otis Nixon will be in center. David Justice in right field. Terry Pendleton has won 3 Gold Gloves. He's at third. Jeff Blauser at shortstop. Mark Lemke, the second baseman. Sid Breen strong at first defensively. And Damon Berryhill behind the plate.
And at the plate, Joe Carter with 2 down and the bases empty in the bottom of the first. The Braves lead 1-0. Carter 3 for 13. 2 of his hits solo home runs. 1 strike on the Toronto right fielder. One of the things that impresses you about Atlanta's young pitching staff as well is their athleticism. Glavin, an outstanding hockey player, an excellent fielder. Smoltz was an all-state basketball player in high school at Waverly High in Lansing, Michigan. He's a 4 handicap golfer. There's Glavin. Pitched well in defeat last night. Carter pops it foul and out of play. Still 0-2.
Steve Avery combined his skills offensively and as a pitcher in high school, a fine hitter. Pete Smith, a good athlete.
Matter of fact, Pete Smith tells the story of the only time in high school that Smith and Glavin pitched against each other, 2 highly touted prospects. They expected a pitcher's duel in the local area. The game wound up 7-6. They each claimed that they had a couple of hits against the other. 500 hitter lifetime against Smoltz is Joe Carter. On the corner, strike 3. And Bob Davidson, the home plate umpire, has shown a rather liberal strike zone here in the first inning.
After last night with Dan Morrison behind the plate, Jim Cott talking about how you had to throw the ball over the plate. Well, a more liberal Bob Davidson behind the plate tonight.
Happy birthday to you.
If you'd spent the last 95 years selling cars, you'd make a big deal out of it too. It's Oldsmobile's 95th birthday celebration, and your local dealer has great deals on every model. Like this Achieva. Lease it for only $209 a month and get automatic transmission, anti-lock brakes, air, power door locks, AM/FM stereo with cassette, and more. Check it out. Oldsmobile's 95th birthday celebration. It's a big deal.
Here. There. Everywhere. The DeskJet Portable. DeskJet printers from Hewlett-Packard. Make it happen.
Read my lips.
Remember?
You will be better off 4 years from now than you are today.
Well, it's 4 years later. How you doing?
I am the Burger King.
I love this place.
Dinner. It's a whole new thing, and it's happening at Burger King. Yeah, come in. I order the dinner basket thing. I want the dinner basket with the chickens. I go and get my own drink. Come here. I give you popcorn just to chill with. I got the popcorn. Right now it's time for table service. I am psyched. Burger King, dinner basket, table service. They're the only one. Working up the appetite outside of BK. I'm thinking about the chicken or the shrimp, the steak or the Whopper, baked potato or the fries, slaw or the salad. You decide.
Chicken, steak, Whopper, shrimp.
So then they bring your food out from 4 to 8, and they wait on you. All right, what do you think about this whole concept, man? Table service. They bring it right out to you to serve you. Very good. And he's dipping it in. Very good. It's good, isn't it?
It's your way, right away.
I love this place.
Flex.
You don't have to be a child to be a victim of child abuse. What's happening to these old folks is a crying shame, and you won't believe who's doing it. An all-new Street Stories returns next Thursday.
Well, you can find just about anything that you would like to eat or drink at the SkyDome, including Italian ice. Atlanta batting in the second. With a 1-0 lead, a late swing for strike 1 by Sid Bream. Bream back in the lineup tonight and 3 for 8 in the series. He'll be followed by Jeff Blauser and Damon Berryhill. Atlanta scored a run off Jack Morris in the first on doubles by Otis Nixon and Terry Pendleton. Oh, 0-2 on Sid Bream.
Saw that banner in the background. God used a Blue Jay to unite Canada. It's possible.
Bream into center field. It's caught by Devon White.
Oh, that is a great banner right there.
We've seen a lot of them both here at the SkyDome and also in Atlanta.
All 10 provinces and 2 territories are watching in tonight. You can bet on that.
Jeff Blauser, the batter. Popped out of play. 1 strike on the Atlanta shortstop, who's only 2 for 15 in the series. But despite those numbers, Bobby Cox says he never pondered pinch hitting for Jeff Blauser in the 8th inning of last night's ball game when he grounded out for the final out of the inning with 2 men in scoring position and with the Braves trailing 2-1. He says, I've never hit for Jeff Blauser.
One of the interesting things about that at bat, he grounded out to John Olerud. Bobby Cox was saying, what was Olerud doing on the line? Cito Gaston saying because Olerud is a left-handed thrower and the glove is toward the hole, he favors the line. And there's John Olerud. By the way, that was the first time that Jeff Blauser grounded out in 3 months to first base. 3 months. So he does not hit a lot of balls on the ground to the right side.
2-2 on Blauser. Damon Berryhill on deck. 1 out in the top of the second. 1-0 Atlanta. Out of play to the right side. Not only is Jack Morris attempting to become the first pitcher in World Series history to win the final game of 2 consecutive series with 2 different teams, he is also trying to become the first pitcher in history to win a World Series game with 3 different teams. He's done it for Detroit and Minnesota.
Allie Reynolds, the last to win 2 consecutive clinchers. He did it in 1952 and 1953 for the Yankees. Lefty Gomez, you mentioned him earlier, 6-0 in World Series play. He did it for the Yankees in 36 and 7, and Art Neff in 21 and 22.
Nobody's ever done it for 2 different teams in consecutive years. Morris won 21 games for Toronto in the regular season. And he won the MVP honors last year in the World Series with the Twins. In the dirt. A full count on Blauser with 1 out and the bases empty.
Catfish Hunter won the clincher for 2 different teams, but not in consecutive years. He did it for the Athletics in 1972. And then for the New York Yankees in 1978.
And it's good that you said that, because people watching tonight might have been thinking, wait a minute, what about Catfish Hunter? But it wasn't in consecutive years. Blauser strikes out. 2 outs in the second, 3 strikeouts in the ball game for Jack Morris.
All of the strikeouts so far for Morris has been on fastballs. You can see the 2 fingers together. When the fingers are split, the ball goes down. When the fingers are together, that's his cross seamer, and the ball stays on the same plane. That's the fastball.
Off-speed pitch popped up in foul ground by Damon Berryhill. Kelly Gruber makes the play. The Braves go in order in the second. After an inning and a half in Game 5, Atlanta 1 and Toronto 0.
This man's incredibly close, comfortable shave comes from the Norelco razor. But to see how he got it, we must go back to when he began shaving, not just above the skin, but below it. Here, our lift and cut system lifts the hair so when it's cut, it can drop below skin level without the blades touching your face. Try it, and you'll keep going back to Norelco for a perfect shave. Norelco, we make close comfortable.
You probably think the best American car value is some little econo box you have to settle for, right? Nope. It's a Buick. The luxurious Buick Park Avenue. That's according to the Complete Car Cost Guide. They calculated the 5-year cost of depreciation, financing, insurance, fuel, maintenance, and repairs, and found that Park Avenue is the best American car value. For a free reprint from the Complete Car Cost Guide, call 1-800-4-BUICK.
Make it clear. Make it colorful. Make it both. The DeskJet 550C. With DeskJet printers from Hewlett-Packard, it's easy to make it happen.
The flight is in the air. Hijackers are on board, and one passenger is fighting back. Terror at 40,000 feet and climbing. Passenger 57, rated R. Starts Friday, November 6th.
Baseball, baseball. Catch the fever now. Baseball, baseball. Let me show you how. Close call. Hardball. And making that connection. Eat dirt. Slide in. Don't change your direction. Smoke 'em, bake 'em. Dominate by shit intimidation. Throw heat. Play the window pastime of the nation. Baseball, baseball. Catch the fever now. Baseball, baseball. Let me show you how. Check it out. Catch the fever. Everybody catch the fever.
A message from Major League Baseball.
Sean McDonough with Tim McCarver, our producer. Bob Dekas, our director. Bob Fishman, delighted to have you with us from the SkyDome in Toronto, Game 5 of the World Series. Led by Atlanta at the moment, 1-0 as Dave Winfield steps in to begin the bottom of the second. John Smoltz worked a 1-2-3 first while striking out 2. Winfield takes a fastball for a strike. He's 3 for 13 in the series. And still looking for his first ever World Series extra base hit. Oh, and 2. Winfield and Olerud and Maldonado coming up for Toronto in the second. Check swing at a breaking ball. They appealed down to first, no swing.
Nobody in the major leagues has more plate coverage than Dave Winfield. That's why he stands way back in the box, way away from the plate.
At 6'6" with long arms, he can go out and handle that outside pitch, even though he is a long way from the plate. Now the 2-2 pitch. Winfield can be a free agent at the end of this season if the Blue Jays do not offer him salary arbitration. Winfield's agent says the talks are underway aimed at keeping him in Toronto, and it seems like a good move for both parties. Certainly Winfield has flourished here this year. He hit .290 and drove in 108 runs in the regular season. And the Blue Jays are in their first World Series, and Winfield a big part of that. The full count now as Smoltz works to Winfield. The 3-2 pitch. Line to center field. Nixon on the run makes the catch. Winfield hit it hard, but Nixon runs well, and he was able to track it down in front of the warning track.
Winfield likes to extend his arms. He extends his arms and hits it hard to right center. But Otis Nixon, like his counterpart, Devon White, an excellent center fielder.
Now John Olerud. Fastball missed for ball 1. Olerud 2 for 10 in the series. Both of John Olerud's hits came last night. He had a pair of singles and going 2 for 3 after starting the World Series. 0 for 8.
We mentioned last night that John Olerud has a quiet bat. The one thing that the hitting instructor, Larry Heisel, has done with Olerud, he's talked him into moving his fingers. You see that left hand? It's almost like he's playing a flute. Interestingly, Ernie Banks used to have that same finger movement on the bats. It relaxes the hands, and it gives him a triggering mechanism. A lot of times, if your bat is too quiet, the ball's on top of you too quickly. But if you're wiggling those fingers, relaxing the fingers, it allows you to trigger very quickly.
Fastball in for a strike. And interestingly, Ernie Banks is in attendance at the World Series. He spent about a half an hour chatting with Cito Gaston after Game 3 here at the SkyDome on Tuesday night. 3-1 pitch, and now the count is full. .95 miles per hour. The last fastball from Smoltz. Now is 3-2. Soft line drive, and that drops in center field. So the Blue Jays have their first hit of the night, and John Olerud has his third consecutive hit dating back to last night.
In Game 3, with Jeff Reardon on the mound, the count, no balls and 2 strikes to Candy Maldonado, and the base is loaded. And a drive over the head of Otis Nixon wins it for Toronto. And they go up 2-1, and they win last night. And they need one more victory to win their first World Championship ever.
That hit, the only hit in this series for Maldonado. He's 1 for 11. Tying run at first for Toronto with 1 out in the bottom of the second. The Braves lead 1-0. Smoltz misses low and away. Olerud is not a very good runner at first, and Bream is playing a little bit behind him. Smoltz misses low and away. 2-0. Rich Hacker is the Blue Jays' third base coach. Late swing and a foul ball out of play to the right.
When you hit a 2-0 pitch the other way, that means you do have a tendency to hit the ball the other way. And sure enough, Maldonado is not strictly a pull hitter. You can see that his hits are distributed rather fairly the other way also.
Foul tipped into the mid of Berryhill. 2-2. And certainly the Atlanta outfield defense has the chart that you just saw in mind, as Otis Nixon in center field is shading right, and Justice in right field is a couple of steps toward the line. The 2-2 from Smoltz. Fastball, and Maldonado laid off it. Smoltz has faced 3 batters here in the second and has gone to a full count with all 3 of them.
Well, you have a strikeout pitcher in John Smoltz, a strikeout hitter in Maldonado, a slow runner at first. I don't think he'll send him here.
Olerud does not run, and Maldonado takes ball 4. The first walk issued by Smoltz. First and second with 1 out. Kelly Gruber, the batter. He's 1 for 11. His 1 hit, the big home run in Game 3 off Steve Avery. And he was one of the heroes last night in Game 4. He walked leading off the 7th and scored the run that proved to be the difference in the ball game.
suffered that cut that you saw on his chin while scoring the winning run, sliding head first into home. He was dazed for a while. He didn't remember the play made in the field the next inning when the ball hit by Lemke. He checked his swing. No swing, says American League umpire John Shulock down at first. John Olerud, the runner at second. Candy Maldonado at first. With 1 out in the second, Atlanta leads 1-0. This is Game 5 of the 1992 World Series. The Blue Jays lead 3-1. The 1-0 pitch. Pop foul, straight back and out of play.
With Toronto up 1-0 last night, 7th inning, Kelly Gruber scores the second run, and that proved to be the winning run. Atlanta coming up with 1 run in the 8th inning. Kelly Gruber had walked to lead off the bottom of the 7th.
Throw to second. Safe and just barely is John Olerud. Lemke moved in behind Olerud undetected, and if the throw were a bit better, they had him.
Bit better meaning down. That throw was high like a lot of Smoltz's pitches. Had that throw been down, Lemke would have applied the tag. You see how far he had to go, and that allowed Olerud to get back in safely.
The 1-1 to Gruber. Breaking ball for strike 2. Struck him out with the breaking ball. That's the second out of the inning and the third strikeout already for John Smoltz.
He started Gruber off with a slider, and he finishes him off with the slider. You folks at home may be able to tell the slider from the curveball. John Smoltz's slider will break parallel to the ground. The curveball breaks down to the ground. So you in your living room or wherever you're watching this game.
Watch Pat Porter sting one deep down the left field line. It is off the wall, a fair ball. Olerud has scored. Maldonado stopped at third. Another hit for Pat Porters. He's 6 for 13 in the series, and the Blue Jays have tied the game at 1.
Hit this pitch unless you're looking for it. You see how far John Smoltz missed with that fastball. Berryhill setting up outside, and the pitch was inside.
A 1-1 ball game that hits even at 2 apiece. The RBI, the second of the World Series for Borders. He has to be a leading candidate for MVP honors in this World Series, should Toronto go on and win it. Manuel Lee took a strike. He's up with 2 outs and runners at second and third. He's just 1 for 12 in the World Series. A ball low. Lee's only hit was a single in Game 2. It came off John Smoltz. He's 0 for 7 since then. Batting from his stronger side of the plate. He fared much better from the left during the 92 regular season. 2 hits and a walk off Smoltz in the inning. Lee lines to third. Solidly struck, but into the mid of Pendleton to end the inning. After 2 in Game 5 of the World Series, the Braves and Blue Jays tied at 1.
Isn't it wonderful? A tire so special it may last as long as you own your car. The XH4. Congratulations. It's a Michelin. Backed by an 80,000-mile treadwear limited warranty. Michelin. Because so much is riding on your tires.
Now, all over the world, the sisters and mothers and best friends waiting to hear from you can hear from you for a lot less. Introducing the AT&T Special Country Plan. Save 15%. It's easy. There's no monthly fee. Just call right now and tell us your one special international country and start saving to everyone in it every hour of every day. We'll always be there to make calling more affordable.
When we set out to design the new Geo Prism, the possibilities were endless. Then, step by step, we built a car that's as well thought out as it is well engineered. Once you see the end result, we think you'll agree. It all came together beautifully. Get to know the newest Geo Prism, at your Chevrolet Geo dealers.
No other town has this much mystery. No other mystery will keep you guessing. So much happens behind picket fences, you can't afford to miss a single minute. Tom Skerritt stars in the Critics' Pick for Best Series.
This you're gonna love.
If you love a mystery, you'll love this town. Find out what's behind picket fences Friday.
CBS Sports coverage of Game 5 of the 1992 World Series is brought to you by Michelin, because so much is riding on your tires. A Few Good Men, a new film from Columbia Pictures, and by the Heartbeat of America, Chevrolet and your local Chevy dealer.
Watch how far Damon Berryhill moves his glove on the pitch to Pat Borders. I mean, John Smoltz missed with that fastball a lot, and he paid for it.
As a result, the game tied at 1 as the Braves bat in the third. Number 9 hitter Mark Lemke, 2 for 13 in the series. Lemke drove in a run last night with the ground out. Ball hit off the leg of Jimmy Key that was fielded by Gruber. A play that Kelly Gruber doesn't remember. Lemke and the Braves remember it all too well. Morris will face Lemke, then Nixon and Sanders. That's up the middle. Lee couldn't glove it. And Mark Lemke has his third hit of the World Series. Morris had retired 5 in a row prior to that base hit.
Bobby Cox says, my hitters are hitting the ball just as well as the Blue Jay hitters. We just can't seem to find any holes. Maybe things have turned around for the Braves. The line drive by Manuel Lee with 2 runners in scoring position right at Terry Pendleton, and now Mark Lemke finds a hole.
Otis Nixon lined a double along the left field line on the first pitch of the night thrown by Morris, and he scored the Atlanta run in the first inning. After stealing third, he came in on a double down the right field line by Terry Pendleton. Lemke not much of a threat to run.
Otis Nixon from Evergreen, North Carolina, and there is the sign that was erected last Saturday in his honor. 650 people. You gotta love it.
Jimmy Williams threw the monologue for Otis Nixon with his hand over his mouth, making sure apparently that there are no lip readers in the Toronto dugout. One and 0 the count. Morris has given up 3 hits now through 2 innings plus. Pitch. Nixon popped up a bunt. It's on the screen.
With Nixon, it's either or. With a runner on first base and nobody out, when he puts a bunt down, it is not necessarily a sacrifice because of his speed. I think he tried to take that one with him, bunting it to the right side of the infield, taking advantage of John Olerud holding Lemke on at first base. See if he does it again.
He does turn to bunt. Took a fastball inside for ball 2, 2-1. Jimmy Williams, rumored to be a candidate for the managing jobs of both expansion teams, Florida and Colorado. Although published reports yesterday indicated that Rene Latchman, a coach with the Oakland Athletics, would become the first manager of the Florida Marlins. To short. Lee has to go to first to get Nixon by running step. That's the first out of the inning. Lemke to second, and here's Jim Cott.
Well, it's apparent that the Braves are trying to follow Bobby Cox's advice. I asked him, your hitters have now seen Jack Morris 5 games in the postseason. Anything you can attack him with differently? And he said, we swing at too many pitches off the plate. Inning 1, they were patient. They scored a run. Last inning, Bream and Berryhill again chased pitches out of the strike zone, and they had a 1-2-3 inning.
And Deion Sanders chased a couple of bad balls his first time up there while striking out swinging. 1-1 the score in the top of the third. Lemke at second with 1 out. Sanders chops one to second. Alomar throws him out. If Sanders' foot is bothering him, you wouldn't know it by the way he ran down the line. He made that a very close play on a routine chopper to second.
And Deion doesn't appear to be limping as much tonight when he's walking out to his position as he was 2 nights ago when he started and went 3 for 4. And the minute I said that, he started limping more. Of course.
Been limping on cue of late. Two down, a runner at third. The Braves trying to reclaim the lead in the third inning. Terry Pendleton drove in the Atlanta run with a double down the right field line in the first inning. Off speed and high, 1-0 on the Atlanta third baseman. Borders kept it out in front of the plate as Pendleton missed 1-1.
Jack Morris with 9 wild pitches on the season, 1 in the World Series, and a fine play by Pat Borders. We have seen Borders time and time again get in that position and keep the ball in front of him. He has just had a terrific World Series all the way around.
And the postseason is grueling for all concerned with games on consecutive nights. The only off days are travel days between cities. A 1-1 to Pendleton, fouled straight back. It must be particularly grueling for the catchers, most notably Pat Borders, who caught more games than anybody else in the American League this year.
137. Tack on another 11. This is his 148th game of the year.
The crowd hoping for the strikeout. Pendleton just did get a piece of it to stay alive at 1-2. Bobby Cox told us that Terry Pendleton is one of those hitters who fares better after he's seen a pitcher a couple of times. Certainly that's true of most hitters, but Cox said it is particularly true in the case of Pendleton. Lemke at third and 2 down. 1-1 the score in the third. Another 1-2 pitch. He struck him out. Pendleton got a piece of it. Borders able to squeeze it for the final out of the inning. We'll return to SkyDome after this word from your local station.
Friday, the girls are going on a manhunt.
Stop that waving. He's cute. Great. Why don't we all just lift up our skirts and say howdy?
A wild new designing women. Then, meet Bob's new assistant.
Ba here is just giving me some pointers.
Who?
Ba. short for Bob.
All new Bob Friday.
It's the story of Di and Fergie. They lived a fairy tale that became a shattered dream.
I'm entitled to have a life of my own.
The Women of Windsor, Sunday following 60 Minutes.
This is CBS.
Over time, the wrong gasoline could send one of your biggest investments belly up. May we suggest the protection of Chevron with Tetraline, the blue chip gasoline that can help turn your investment around. Chevron, simply smarter.
The styling of the Infiniti Q45 has a beauty that increases as time passes. The interior offers a lasting pleasure, an enduring luxury, which is important because when it comes to a luxury car, as well as most other things in life, infatuation is easy. True love is what takes a little time.
Stagecoach funds have arrived. Mutual funds for investors more comfortable on Main Street than Wall Street.
They're here!
9 different funds, from tax-free income to government securities to long-term capital growth, all aimed at helping you get where you're going. Stagecoach funds, now available at every Wells Fargo office. Climb aboard.
Wise Guy, tonight at 9 on Channel 2.
The Toronto Blue Jays with a win tonight will wrap up the 1992 World Championship of Baseball. 1-1 the score in the third. Devon White fouled the first pitch away.
Pretty good room service. I'd like a baseball game tonight, please. They have one.
Those suites in the SkyDome Hotel overlooking the playing field are going for $1,000 a night during the World Series. And they're jammed, as you can see. Of course, if you invite in 100 friends, all of a sudden it's not that expensive per person.
$10 a pop. Not bad.
Very good, Tim.
I'll tell you, $10 is all it costs to close the roof here at SkyDome. Can you imagine that? It takes 20 minutes and it costs $10 to close this roof or open it. $10, what a deal.
10 in each direction.
That's $10 Canadian. With 20%, it's $8 American. It's unbelievable. What a deal.
A fun SkyDome fact here in the third inning. 1-2 now on White. Smoltz struck him out his first time up. Smoltz facing the top of the order of White, then Alomar and Carter. Check swing at the ball high. 2-2. You think after the great catch a couple of nights ago in Game 3, Devon White would get more respect, but Dave Winfield has taken to calling him Crash Test Dummy as a result of the accident in which he was a part. Smoltz chasing after the ball because they're going to appeal here to see if it was a swing.
He wants Bob Davidson to appeal. Third base umpire Mike Riley has yet to call anything.
Well, Bob Davidson is hollering in at the Atlanta dugout. Finally, he did point down to Mike Riley, and Mike Riley said no swing.
And John Smoltz didn't want the ball to roll into the dugout. That was very close to a swing. The one thing you don't want to do as a runner, you don't know how far it's going to go away from the catcher, so you don't want to break toward first, because then the chances of you getting the call are slim. He looked like he could have gone around on that swing, however.
From 0-2 to 3-2. White with a high fly ball. Medium range center field, Otis Nixon. 1 out in the third. We understand that former baseball commissioner Fay Vincent underwent 4 hours of back surgery today and that he's doing well, and all of us at CBS want to extend our best wishes to Fay Vincent. Smoltz looking in at Roberto Alomar. Robbie bounced to short his first time up. 1-1 the score in the bottom of the third. 1 out and the base is clear. I mentioned last night that Roberto Alomar lives in that SkyDome hotel that we saw a moment ago, and the manager of the hotel says we consider Robbie a member of our family. Must be a little bit more difficult for him to get around his Toronto home with all those people up at SkyDome tonight.
Robbie Alomar does not consider Bob Davidson, however, a member of his family. He's complaining about that pitch inside, and you rarely see Alomar complain this much. That was a close pitch right there. Before that fastball from Smoltz outside on a strikeout earlier, but that pitch could have had the corner.
And Bob Davidson, to his everlasting credit, admitted that he missed the call on the catch by Devon White, the tag at second base that would have been the completion of the triple play. More umpires admitted their mistakes, there would be fewer prolonged arguments on the field. They don't make many, that's for sure. And the count is full now. Smoltz went to a full count with the first 3 batters last inning. He went full with Devon White leading off this, the third. Now 3-2 on Alomar. This is already pitch number 52, and it's a ball. Smoltz has walked 2. The Blue Jays with a man aboard with 1 out in the third. Once again, we check in with Jim Cott.
Well, you mentioned the 3-2 count, Sean, and the 3 days rest philosophy that everyone talks about, whether pitchers can hold up under it. This is the situation. When you throw this many pitches early in a game, John Smoltz will tend to lose the sharpness on that breaking ball, and the ball will stay up in the strike zone. These innings early take out more out of that pitching arm on 3 days rest than anything else.
We've seen evidence of that already. Smoltz labored through the second. 2 full counts with 2 batters here in the third. A man aboard with 1 out for Carter, who was called out on strikes his first time up.
I think the hitters on both sides approach the pitchers the same way. They try to get ahead in the count so they can get a fastball to hit. And they're behind in the count. They have to fight off the sharp breaking ball and the fork ball, the splitter of John Smoltz, and the splitter of Jack Morris.
Alomar stole 49 bases during the regular season. He'll retreat to first as the fly ball to right is handled by Justice. 2 away. Well, Bobby Cox told Jim Cott on our pregame show with Pat O'Brien that he won't hesitate to use everybody out there in the bullpen tonight. This is a must-win situation, obviously. And he said he thought that Steve Avery was the only pitcher he would not use, and even that was a slim possibility. Certainly wouldn't expect to see Tom Glavine out there as well.
No,
his start last night.
Tom Avery, if the Braves win tonight, Tom Avery, or I beg your pardon, Steve Avery. Tom
Avery, a relative of Bill Wakefield.
Steve Avery pitching on Saturday night, right? You saw that quick move to first base. John Smoltz gets the ball to the plate very, very quickly. It's tough to run on him, even though he is a right-handed pitcher. I knew you were going to do that. I felt that coming.
First pitch to Winfield is a ball. Dave lined to deep center his first time up. Alomar, perfect 9 for 9 in the postseason. 7 for 7 in postseason play this year, including 2 for 2 in the 1992 World Series. And he is approaching the record of Ron Gant. Of course, Gant's record is still intact. He's a perfect 11 for 11, but not in the lineup tonight. 1-1 the score with 2 down in the bottom of the third.
You can see that pattern that Smoltz has. Quick throws to first base, quick throws home. He is very, very difficult to read. Only 11 stolen bases this year in 18 tries against him.
Chop to third. Pendleton, the short way to Lemke to force Alomar and end the inning. We've played 3 in Game 5 of the World Series. The Braves and Blue Jays tied at 1.
The new Geo Prism is designed to such exacting standards, it comes with a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty. It covers everything, bumper to bumper. There are no ifs, no ands, no buts, and no deductible. But the best news about Prism isn't its warranty. It's the fact that you may never need it. Get to know the newest Geo. Geo Prism at your Chevrolet Geo dealers.
With each new day, you find a way to be your best.
Gillette Sensor for the closest, safest shave ever.
You know you gotta be a little better than the rest.
Only Gillette Sensor has spring-mounted twin blades that sense and adjust to every detail of every face. Gillette Sensor, when you're the best, there's no feeling like it.
Gillette, the best a man can get.
He has challenged the politics as usual candidates and has a plan to take back our country. He's outlined the problems which face us, and he has presented concrete solutions. What will he do next? Find out Saturday at 8 Eastern, 7 Central.
From one of the most celebrated filmmakers of our time comes the most unforgettable love story of all time.
Bram Stoker's Dracula, a Francis Ford Coppola film, rated R, at theaters Friday the 13th of November. Pure and natural. Budweiser, king of beers.
This game summary is sponsored by Budweiser.
The Braves scored first in the first inning. Otis Nixon doubled and Terry Pendleton doubled him in. The Toronto run in the second inning, John Olerud a single, Candy Maldonado a walk, and Pat Borders the double that knocked in Olerud. So it's 1-1 as we go to the fourth. And David Justice looked at ball one. He struck out swinging back in the first. He'll be followed by Lonnie Smith and Sid Bream.
I'll tell you, if the Braves can hang on long enough, David Justice is going to get his hits. He has been swinging the bat very well, just missing a lot of pitches.
The shift on again. 3 infielders on the right. That's deep to right. No shift will take care of that one. Nearly into the second deck for David Justice. His first home run of the World Series. And Atlanta is back on top 2-1.
Justice has been just under pitches, but not this one. This ball is crushed to give the Braves the lead. It looked like a high fork ball right around the letters. Not for long. Oh, boy. That ball was smoked.
Off the facing of the second deck and right. Lonnie Smith got under that one. Alomar out in a shallow right. Carter calls him off. 1 out. Justice had 2 home runs in the league championship series against Pittsburgh. You mentioned that Bobby Cox had pointed out he was just missing, getting under them. We got all of that. So the Braves lead for the second time. They've led 1-0 and 2-1. And with 1 out and the bases empty in the fourth, Sid Bream stands in. He was out on the fly ball to center, leading off the second. How close has this series been? Neither team has enjoyed a lead of more than 2 runs at any time in this series. Morris and the Jays lost the first game of the series 3-1. The other 3 games 1-run decisions. Bream hit it a long way to the opposite field, but Maldonado made the play in front of the track.
The 2 pitches to David Justice. The first pitch, a splitter low. And the second pitch gives the Braves the lead.
Two down for Jeff Blauser. Blauser struck out swinging his first time up. This is, by the way, only the second time in the last 75 years that a World Series has lasted 4 full games plus without either team ever having a lead of more than 2 runs. Games have been close, but the Blue Jays have won 3 of them, and Atlanta has only 1 win. They need a win tonight against Cito Gaston's ball club to send the series back to Atlanta for games 6 and 7. 2 balls and a strike on the Atlanta shortstop Blauser. The Justice homer, only the second for Atlanta in the World Series. Toronto has hit 5. In the hole, base hit. Gruber was playing close to the line, and Blauser bounced it through for just his 3rd hit of the World Series.
What does Jack Morris throw? Well, he throws the fastball. You notice how he uses the seams for leverage to throw it harder. He uses the splitter. That ball has a tumbling motion when it faces the hitter, going down. And he uses the slowest of his pitches, the palm ball, and aptly named, as you can see with that grip.
Blauser takes off on the first pitch to Berryhill. Borders throw. Got him. Well, now Pat Borders can do absolutely no wrong. The Braves reclaim the lead on the Justice homer as we go to the bottom of the 4th.
Autumn, a time when trees cast new colors. A time for sharing warmth. And at McDonald's, we're doing just that. Sharing the warmth of our new oven-baked apple pies. A cinnamon-dusted crust with golden, delicious apple filling. And now when you buy one, your local McDonald's donates 25 cents to Ronald McDonald Children's Charities, who bring warmth and hope to kids everywhere. Try our new baked apple pie. It's a delicious way to warm your heart.
This is the scariest story I've ever heard.
From the chilling imagination of Clyde Barker comes a living, breathing terror.
Candyman.
Candyman, rated R, now playing.
Make it clear. Make it colorful. Make it both. The DeskJet 550C. With DeskJet printers from Hewlett-Packard, it's easy to make it happen.
I know. You've had it up to here with phone commercials. Excuse me. No, you really should hear this. It's about the most from Sprint. See, it saves you big on whoever you call the most each month. With no lists, no fees. It's all automatic. Now, aren't you glad you heard all that?
Baby, why didn't you sign us up?
Sister, I've been trying to do that for years.
You ran out of gas. You locked your keys in your car. You locked your dog in your car. You locked your keys and your dog in the car.
Introducing the new Geo Prism with 24-hour roadside assistance on a car so well engineered you may never need it.
You got lost and needed directions.
So get to know the newest Geo Prism at your Chevrolet Geo dealers.
And it's raining.
When these guys Police, drop the gun! Take the field.
Thank you!
It's not practice. It's for real top cops.
Atlanta leads 2-1 thanks to the home run by David Justice in the top of the fourth. John Olerud sends the first pitch of the bottom of the fourth back to the screen.
That's a Blue Jay right there.
I would say she's definitely cheering for the Blue Jays. Olerud, then Maldonado and Gruber. John Olerud has another hit. That's his fourth consecutive hit. He singled and scored the Toronto run back in the second. That's the third hit in the ball game for the Blue Jays.
You can see John Smoltz angrily throwing the ball down. This splitter just hangs up in the strike zone. And John Olerud, who has scored the only run for the Blue Jays, opens the fourth with his second hit.
Tandy Maldonado walked his first time up. That moved Olerud to second. Olerud scored on a double by Borders. 1-0 on Maldonado. On Maldonado.
See, Smoltz is starting to fall behind in the count. In game one, he was throwing first pitch strikes, or his first start. That was game two. First pitch strikes, and tonight he is falling behind in the count. And as Jim Cott suggested, it could be because of his pitch count.
Down the right field line, slicing toward the pole. It is a foul ball. Pitching coach Leo Mazzoni chomping on the gum alongside Bobby Cox. 2-1 is high, 3 balls and a strike. We're in the bottom of the fourth. Atlanta leads 2-1. The Braves are out hitting the Blue Jays 5-3. Maldonado at the plate with a count of 3 balls and a strike, and John Olerud is the runner at first. Again, Bream plays a little bit behind him. Kelly Gruber is on deck. The 3-1 pitch. Fouled out of play, first base side. That was pitch number 63 of the night for John Smoltz.
The last time Olerud was on at first base, it was a 3-2 count on Maldonado. Cito Gaston elected not to send Olerud. We'll see if that is in effect now also.
With the count 3-2, Bream moved in a bit tighter. And Maldonado walks again. Sid Bream, Damon Berryhill, Terry Pendleton, all at the mound. Lemke and Blauser will join them as well.
They are trying to determine what to do on a bunt should Kelly Gruber lay one down. I think when you have a 1-run lead, what you try to do in this situation is make sure you get the 1 out, even at the expense of bunting the runners over at second and third. If you mess up the bunt play, that's going to lead to the big inning. You still have a 1-run lead. So I think Atlanta will be conservative in this bunting situation if Kelly Gruber indeed bunts.
You would think that would be the play with the problems that Gruber has had. He's 1 for 12 in the series, including a strikeout tonight. We got a piece of the pitch and fouled it off. Home plate umpire Bob Davidson checked quickly with Gruber to make sure he was okay.
Yeah, I think Bob may have thought that Kelly was hit on the hand. But of course, if you bunt the ball and you hit on the hand, it's a strike if it's bunted foul. came very close to hitting the right hand of Kelly Gruber.
Gruber only sacrificed once during the regular season. He also had a sacrifice in the American League Championship Series. The 0-1, no sign of a bunt. It's a ball low and away.
Well, you have the hottest hitter on either club on deck. But if the bunt were successful and you're Bobby Cox, would you walk Borders to get to Manny Lee, who hit the ball hard the last time up?
I think the answer to that question is yes.
I don't know. I'm not too sure.
Two balls and a strike. One thing is for certain, John Smoltz is not on top of his game tonight. Pete Smith and Charlie Liebrandt warming up here in the bottom of the fourth inning. When he is on, he can dominate. But after 1-2-3 first inning, Smoltz has labored since. 2 men on, nobody out. The 2-1 pitch is popped up. Barry Hill back to the screen. Without a play. Our cameraman had a play, as you might have heard.
There's George, our cameraman, who takes all those terrific shots. He got a ball out of that. All right, George. All right. World Series ball.
Now, George, be honest, did you catch it?
No. Picked it up off the ground.
Sure he did.
He was ducking like I'd be if I were in that position.
Believe us, we know.
Yes, sir.
Now the 2-2 pitch. Breaking ball hit high in the air and deep to left field. Sanders on the warning track makes the catch. One out. And some anxious moments for John Smoltz and Braves fans everywhere.
He hangs the slider right up in Gruber's wheelhouse. And Deion Sanders makes the catch 1 foot from the wall. And Leo Mazzoni, the pitching coach of the Braves, is out there to talk to John. I don't think you talk too much about mechanics during a ball game. But what Leo may be reminding John is to try to stay ahead. Remember, first pitch strikes the most important pitch in any sequence. You get a hitter in the hole, then your pitch becomes less predictable.
The Braves lead 2-1. Toronto with runners at first and second and 1 out. In the fourth inning for Pat Borders, who drove in the Blue Jay run in the second with a double off the wall and left. It was his 6th hit in the 1992 World Series. He has now hit safely in all 11 of his games in the postseason this year, and in 13 straight postseason games dating back to last year. Again, Smoltz missed the mid of Barry Hill. He had to move significantly to his left to field it.
We've seen that a lot tonight. John Smoltz control off target.
The 1-1 pitch. That one wasn't close. 2-1. The view from the sky deck. That's the 500 level here at SkyDome. Borders off the end of the bat and foul. 2-2. There have only been 3 longer postseason hitting streaks than the one currently enjoyed by Pat Borders. Hank Bauer 17 games, Ricky Henderson 15, Brooks Robinson 14. Smoltz to second. Olerud back safely. The 2-2 pitch. Through the middle, base hit. Olerud does not run very well. He's being waved in. Nixon's throw offline. 2-2 the score.
Lemke was shielded from seeing the ball by John Smoltz. Watch. See, you don't see Lemke. Now you see him, and it's too late. Lemke can't pick the ball up. He breaks too late. Otherwise, that's a double play. You see the step to the left? He never picked the ball up. And the Blue Jays tie it.
And Pat Borders takes another step toward possible MVP honors in the 1992 World Series. He's 2 for 2 tonight with an RBI double in the second, an RBI single here in the fourth. Borders now 7 for 14 in the World Series, coming off a league championship series in which he hit .318. The go-ahead run is at second. Borders at first. Maldonado the runner at second for the number 9 hitter, Manuel Lee, who lines sharply to the third baseman his first time up. 1-0 on Lee.
It's interesting that Mark Lemke was holding Olerud on there and in ideal position to make that play had he seen the ball. But because the ball went through the legs of Smoltz, Lemke didn't get a good jump.
Chop to third. Pendleton steps on the bag for one. To first. Not in time. Bream had to come off the bag to field it. Lee aboard with 2 outs on the fielder's choice.
This ball is not hit hard enough for Terry Pendleton to get 2, even though Terry tries. He barely stepped on third base. He almost missed the bag. When he went to the bag, he barely touched it with the outside of his right foot. I mean, that is very close. He almost missed the bag if he touched it.
Looked like he did with the toe. With just barely.
Close.
Good thing he's a size 9. Devon White.
Instead of a size 7. I'll tell you, he is very close to missing the bag right there.
White is 0 for 2 tonight. He is struck out and flying to center. 2-2 the score on the bottom of the fourth. Smoltz has given up 4 hits tonight. He has walked 3. Good change of speeds. White out in front of it. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Hold foul, still 1-2. John Smoltz says he hasn't had time to be nervous in preparation for this start in Game 5. He says he's spent so much time being nervous watching the last couple of games in this series, with as close as they have been, that he hasn't really been directing his thoughts at this start tonight. Maldonado at second. Borders at second, rather, and Lee at first. Maldonado was erased at third on the force out. And now the 1-2. Check swing. Did he swing? Yes, says Mike Riley. That ends the inning. It's the 4th strikeout of the night for John Smoltz. After 4 innings, 2-2 the score.
The available anti-lock brakes on the new Geo Prism can help you negotiate driving hazards during hard braking. And every new Prism comes with a driver's side airbag, which we'd also be happy to demonstrate. But you've seen all that before. Besides, why ruin such a beautiful car? Get to know the newest Geo Prism at your Chevrolet Geo dealers.
High-performance cars? Luxury performance cars? Family cars? Light trucks? If you've got the car, we've got the tire. Michelin. Because so much is riding on your tires.
He may be a Superman, but after 75 fastballs, even Nolan Ryan's muscles can ache.
After the game, it's Advil, and those aches are long gone.
Today, it isn't aspirin or Tylenol acetaminophen. It's Advil. Advil, advanced medicine for pain.
The tingle feels like it's taking away the dandruff. That's me taking the Denorex shampoo test. I love that tingle. It convinced me to switch from Head & Shoulders to Denorex.
Denorex with conditioners, the dandruff shampoo you can feel working.
I'm a Denorex guy now.
It's 1 out and the tying run is on second. Woodruff facing the top of the order. Capacity crowd here today, and they're all on their feet. Woodruff sets, looks. Here comes the pitch to Gregory. Hit hard to right field. Pinero is digging for it, going back. He's going to have to play it off the wall, and they're waving the runner home. Here comes the throw. He may get him. He got him. He got him. What a throw.
No matter where you are, with official Major League Baseball products, you're always a little closer to the game.
What a throw.
A message from Major League Baseball.
Now a World Series moment from Game 5, 1956.
Gets the sign. Two strikes and a ball to Mitchell with 2 away in the top of this 9th inning. Larson looks in. Here comes the pitch. Strike 3. A no-hitter, a perfect game for Don Larson.
The called third strike on Dale Mitchell. Capped Don Larson's perfect game performance. Game 5, 1956. Yogi Berra was the catcher. The Atlanta catcher, Damon Berryhill, at the plate. He fouled out to the third baseman, Kelly Gruber, his first time up. He's the first batter of the 5th inning in a 2-2 game.
Yogi Berra, of course, number 8. The New York Yankees have 2 number 8s retired. Bill Dickey was number 8, and Yogi Berra was number 8. Two great catchers there.
I want to know when we're going to get around to some great Tim McCarver moments from World Series gone by. Jack Morris with the 2-1 pitch fouled away. If I'm not mistaken, he remained the last man to steal home in a World Series game.
Yeah, but I mean, it was tainted. It was the back end of a double steal in Game 7 in '64. You know, and I mean, that's right, but it's you know, Mike Shannon was the lead runner. He stole second base. He kind of took Bobby Richardson out of the play. Could have walked home.
Oh, you're so modest.
No, I mean, really. Back end of a double, I mean, there are a lot of people in baseball who think that a back end of a double steal shouldn't be a stolen base.
You're right. I'm one of them, so you're out of the books.
I am too. Thank you. Not yet.
Oh, sure. Downplay it yourself, but then when we take it away from you, you want to stay in there.
That's right. I'm not going to be overly humble.
The 2-2 to Berryhill. Lined foul. Berryhill, then Lemke in the top of the order. Nixon in the 5th inning. Berryhill in the series has spanned a total of 8 times.
Yeah,
through the first 4 games.
Excuse me, Sean. That's the thing about the Braves. The guy who was in the biggest slump, Damon Berryhill, won the only game the Braves have won. A 3-run homer in Game 1 to win it 3-1.
That was off Morris, and it remains Berryhill's only hit in this series. Now he strikes out again. 1 out in the 5th. Here's Jim Cott.
Guys, pitchers sit on the bench between innings and they pay attention to the rhythm of the game. And in this case, Jack Morris knows that if he can get the Braves out 1, 2, 3 in this inning with the stressful innings that John Smoltz has had, it gives the Toronto lineup a big advantage.
And they have the meat of their lineup coming up in the bottom of the 5th. Alomar, Carter, and Winfield. Alomar throws Lemke out. 2 down in the 5th. If you're just tuning in, this is how we got to 2-2. Terry Pendleton doubled in Otis Nixon, who had doubled, to give Atlanta a 1-0 lead in the top of the 1st. Pat Borders with a double in the bottom of the 2nd to drive in John Olerud, who had singled. 1-1 the score. The Braves out in front again on the first World Series home run in 1992 by David Justice. And Toronto tied it. Again, it was Borders with a single to knock in Olerud, who had singled. So it's 2-2 with 2 outs in the top of the 5th. Otis Nixon 1 for 2. Foul ball, and just barely. Almost identical to the double that Otis Nixon slapped down the left field line his first time up on the first pitch of this ball game. Bobby Cox is saying, how could that possibly be foul?
All it has to do is go over the bag. It can go over the bag and land a foul and still be a fair ball. This ball actually hits about 8 feet in front of the bag, right on the line. But it's slicing toward left field. So if it hits on the line, actually about 4 feet in front of the bag. So if it's slicing, it would make sense that it's a good call. There's no way to keep a ball from slicing if you hit it that hard down the left field line as a left-handed batter.
The 0-1. Just missed. 1 ball and 1 strike. Of the World Series, in which Morris walked 5, Jack has had excellent control tonight. He has not thrown a walk.
Remember the palm ball? Well, that was it. A little floater, 64 miles an hour, 9 miles over the speed limit.
But not in Canada.
No.
That's a base hit. Otis Nixon 2 for 3 tonight.
It's funny how speed slows the game down. You'll see Morris throwing to first. You might see a pitch out here. There is no question that Nixon's going to be running. The question is, which pitch?
Otis stole 3rd back in the 1st inning following his double. Deion Sanders, the batter. He has struck out and bounced to 2nd. Pat Borders has also thrown out a runner tonight. He nailed Blauser trying to steal. That ended the 4th inning. But Toronto has given up 28 stolen bases in this postseason. That's a record. They've only thrown out 4 would-be base stealers. Nixon off, and the pitch gets away from Borders. Otis slid into 2nd, so that's as far as he will go. Lee went to the bag and covered as if the throw were coming. Nixon slid into 2nd, and he has the stolen base, his 2nd of the night and 5th of the World Series.
A pitcher has to give a catcher a ball about chest high right in the middle of the protector when he's pitching out. This is a pitch out, but it was a pitch up by Morris, and it got by Borders, and Nixon has his 5th stolen base of the series and 2nd of the ball game.
And once again, the Braves have a runner in scoring position. Nixon the go-ahead run with 2 down in the 5th. Cue shot off the end of the bat of Sanders. 1 ball and 1 strike. Borders out to the mound to chat with Morris as Deion waits. The Braves now with 13 stolen bases in this World Series. The record 18 shared by the Cubs of 07 and the Pirates of 09. And that's the most in a World Series in 80+ years. The 13 posted in this one by Atlanta. This is only game 5. Sanders to center, a hit. Charged by White. Nixon to the plate. White's throw is cut off. Olerud dropped the ball as he thought about throwing in behind Sanders. Nixon scores again. The stolen base, a big one. And the Braves reclaim the lead for the 3rd time tonight, 3-2.
Morris finally gave in to Deion Sanders with a fastball, and Sanders spanks it up the middle. Nixon scoring easily. I think Devon White just wants to hit the cutoff man here, knowing full well there's no way to get Nixon. And that way Olerud can cut it off and try to throw behind Sanders at first, but he dropped the ball.
And what a story Deion Sanders is in this World Series. He's now 5 for 10 with his RBI single. 1 for 3 tonight. Galen Cisco, the pitching coach at the mound, as Pat Corrales, the Atlanta first base coach, talks with Sanders.
See, this is what speed on the bases does. You've got the middle infielders up there, Robbie Alomar, Manuel Lee. The catchers out there, the pitching coach, they're talking, and that's what speed does. It just absolutely confuses the defense. Otis Nixon has done it twice. David Wells, the left-hander. Todd Stottlemyre, the right-hander. And you can look for Sanders to be running somewhere in this sequence.
And you think back to the point made by Jim Cott about the importance for Morris to hold the Braves at bay in this inning, because his teammates can sense that they are getting to John Smoltz, but he couldn't hold off the Braves. Terry Pendleton doubled a drive and a run in the first. He struck out in the third. Sanders is not running on the first pitch. That's a fair ball. Just like his double in the first inning. It's touched by a fan. And Sanders will be sent back to third.
That is a tough break for the Braves, and I think Bobby Cox will argue about this. If in the judgment of the umpires they think that Deion Sanders, with that tremendous speed, can score on the ball, then an umpire can award Sanders home plate and make it a run. You don't know what the ball's going to do. Is it going to hug the wall? Is it going to hit the wall and bounce out? And I think Bobby Cox has a good argument right here. Deion Sanders looking back to see if it was fair. It was fair, and it was touched by a fan. Now, what's this ball going to do? Is it going to kick out? Is it going to hug the wall? You don't know.
Tim, if Deion Sanders doesn't score on this play, there isn't a man in baseball who scores on this play.
That's right.
And he's off with 2 outs because it's the crack of the bat. If they're not going to allow him to score, they could never send any runner around in this situation.
Deion Sanders looking back unnecessarily. Why is he looking back twice? Let the umpire be the umpire. All you should do is take off for third and pick up the third base coach. But it becomes a moot point because the umpires decided that it was going to be a double anyway. But that is a break for Toronto. You know it's going to be a double. It can do only one thing for Toronto, and that's help them.
So Cito Gaston with an assist from one of the 52,000 fans in attendance. They intentionally walked David Justice to load the bases with 2 outs. And to get to the right-handed hitting Lonnie Smith. Justice hit a mammoth home run his last time up. 3-2 Atlanta. Braves led 1-0, then it was 1-1. They led 2-1, then it was 2-2. Now it's 3-2. Deion Sanders at third. Terry Pendleton at second. David Justice at first with 2 outs. Morris will work from the windup. Smith is 0 for 2.
One of the interesting things about the Sanders looking twice at the ball, if he runs hard to third base, that could change the umpire's decision as to whether he could score or not. But he conceded that he was going to third, and when the fan touched the ball, the umpire saw where Sanders was and said he couldn't score. So the umpires were right, but Deion was wrong right there by looking twice.
A ball and a strike on Smith. He has twice flied to right. Chopped down the line. Gruber. It's a foul ball. Gruber turned around to look at third base umpire Mike Riley, but between the plate and the bag, it's the call of the home plate umpire, in this instance, Bob Davidson.
You can see Mike Riley in your screen. See, he does not make a call until home plate umpire Bob Davidson makes a call, throwing both hands up, and then Riley makes the call. Between home plate and the third base bag, it's the home plate umpire's call, and once it's over the bag, it goes to the third base umpire.
Saw a moment ago that Lonnie Smith is nearly a 300 lifetime hitter with the bases loaded. That includes 3 grand slams. Atlanta 3, Toronto 2 in the 5th inning of Game 5 of the 1992 World Series. The Blue Jays lead the series 3 games to 1. The 1-2 pitch. Fastball, and he fought it off. And the pitches starting to add up for Jack Morris. This will be number 81. 24th of this inning. Of course, he's working with 1 day of rest more than that enjoyed by John Smoltz. Morris was the Toronto starter in Game 1. Smoltz went in Game 2 for Atlanta. Another 1-2 pitch. High in the air and well hit to right field. Carter to the wall. Grand slam, Lonnie Smith.
Up there, 3 grand slams for Lonnie Smith, but never had he hit one in the World Series until now. A fastball away, and he takes it away and away and away.
To Atlanta. We're back in just a moment.
1988.
We will be able to produce 30 million jobs in the next 8 years.
Under George Bush, more private sector jobs have been lost than have been created.
And I am an environmentalist.
The Sierra Club says Bush allowed his administration to, quote, gut clean air rules.
I want to be the education president.
George Bush tried to cut college aid for families making over $20,000 a year.
I want a kinder and gentler.
We can't afford 4 more years.
Far from Bourbon Street, in its own little corner of the Garden District, is the most fabled house in New Orleans, the Maple Street Children's Bookshop, where the folks who write the books also read them. So if you go, bring your wildest imagination and your Visa card, because at Maple Street, they'll take you on a truly magical journey, but they won't take American Express. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be.
Doctor.
Is it right for me?
Habitrol. It's a patch.
You know the patch? Habitrol. You know, Habitrol.
It's a patch. Habitrol.
Habitrol.
Habitrol Nicotine Transdermal System. Available by prescription only.
Thank you, Doctor.
It's coming. October 29th. And it will change the way you feel about everything you see. From Sony.
Something dirty's going on in Rome, Wisconsin.
We're dealing with a serial bather.
Can the sheriff break the crime ring?
Catch him.
Before there's another bathtub ring, picket fences Friday.
Hey, Jack Stein from Love and War. So, guys, you get any flack from, watching the game? By all rights, sure to be in here with the chips and dip, massaging your shoulders, pretend she's interested in the score, and then go about her biz. Honey? Honey?
Love and More after Murphy Brown Monday.
David Wells on in relief of Jack Morris, and his first pitch is a breaking ball for a strike to Sid Bream. Well, undoubtedly a lot of folks in Georgia were doing what Marvin Freeman and Javier Lopez were doing when that ball cleared the fence.
Oh, what a great shot. Oh, man.
A lot of people around Canada were doing what Joe Carter did. Jack Morris won 21 games for Toronto in the regular season, but he has had a miserable postseason. Bream, the 8th batter of the inning, up with 2 outs and the bases now empty. And this is the first lead of more than 2 runs for either team in this World Series. And all the damage came after Morris retired the first 2 hitters in this inning. Wells, a big part of this Toronto bullpen that is unscored upon through 9 innings collectively.
Bobby Cox calls Lonnie Smith the toughest, most fearless player that has ever played for him.
Reinforcing his stretch drive nickname as well.
Yeah.
The 1-2. Lee out. Maldonado in. The left fielder takes it. That ends the inning. 5 runs in the 5th for the Braves, highlighted by the grand slam by Lonnie Smith. Halfway through Game 5, it's a 5-run Atlanta lead.
So, I see you changed your mind, huh?
Well, the Camry was nice. And then I drove this.
Yeah?
Mileage is better.
Really?
And with the power, I'm telling you, it's like a sports car with room for the kids.
Probably set you back, huh?
About 3,000 less than the Camry.
No kidding.
No kidding.
Well, what is it?
The new Grand Am. It's a Pontiac.
We are trying excitement. Pontiac.
Really looks nice. Tom Cruise, Jack Nicholson, Demi Moore, a Rob Reiner film, A Few Good Men, rated R. At theaters December 11th.
What, Mom? The Chex Party Mix is for the guests? Good grief.
Don't worry. Now it's so easy. We can make more in 10 minutes.
I can't even make toast.
Just mix up the Chex and the seasoning, shake it in a bag, and pop it in the microwave.
They're not coming? We can't eat the Chex Party Mix? All right. Chex Party Mix. It's so easy and so good.
It seems Europeans have a passion for certain things American. And one of them happens to be the reliable, efficient delivery of a certain American delivery company, UPS. Fact is, we've built the most comprehensive delivery network in Europe. So next time you need something shipped there, use the outfit Europeans find, well, so fashionable. UPS. We run the tightest ship in Europe.
This man is the head of the UN inspection team in Iraq. He says Saddam's nuclear weapons program is destroyed, that there's no danger. A CBS News investigation turned up these reconnaissance photos. They may tell a much different story. So who's this guy working for anyway? Good question. The exclusive story tomorrow on the CBS Evening News.
One small town with a big city problem.
Somebody give it to you.
The first pitch of the bottom of the 5th. A fastball for ball 1 to Roberto Alomar. He has bounced to short and walked. Blue Jays batting, facing a 5-run deficit. They're down 7-2. 5 runs in the 5th for Atlanta. 4 of them on the grand slam by Lonnie Smith. It's the first grand slam in World Series play since 1988 when Oakland's Jose Canseco hit one off the Dodgers' Tim Belcher in Game 1. 2 balls and 2 strikes on Roberto Alomar. Joe Carter and Dave Winfield to follow. Sanders, a late start, but he's there. 1 out. Join us Sunday for NFL action here on CBS Sports. Washington and Minnesota head our 1 o'clock lineup, while some of you will see Dallas and the Los Angeles Raiders at 4. It all starts with the NFL today at 12:30 Eastern, the last word before kickoff. 1 out in the Toronto 5th. And the batter is Joe Carter, who has struck out and flied to right. Jack Morris in 4 starts in this 1992 postseason with an earned run average now of 7.43. He has pitched 23 innings in the postseason this year and has allowed 19 runs, all earned, 7 of those tonight. 6 home runs in 23 innings allowed by Morris in the playoffs and World Series this year.
And if the Braves do win, the guy sitting to the right of Jack Morris will be the starter on Saturday night against Steve Avery of the Braves. And there he is, David Cone.
Carter with a high fly ball in shallow left center. Sanders and Nixon come together, and Sanders made the catch. And he points to himself as if to say to Otis Nixon, hey, that's my ball.
Here it is again. Otis Nixon with so much range, he is almost ranging into Sanders territory.
He was not at home on the Sanders range.
No, he wasn't.
He seemed a bit upset about it. Dave Winfield bounces one through the middle. He's 1 for 3 tonight. Toronto has its 5th hit and a 2-out base runner in the 5th inning.
I think one of the things that is probably going through Bobby Cox's mind right now is if you take John Smoltz out after 5 or 6 innings, then he could be the backup pitcher in Game 7 if it goes that far. But if you take Smoltz out, do you leave it up to a bullpen that has in a lot of ways been unsuccessful, especially in the series?
I think Jim Leland said in a similar situation in the playoffs with Tim Wakefield that you have to win this game and you have to give yourself your best chance to win this game, and at the moment that means keeping John Smoltz in. But it is a thought to ponder, especially with quality rested pitchers in the bullpen like Charlie Lee Brand and Pete Smith.
And a guy like John Smoltz struggling as he has for the last several innings, throwing an awful lot of pitches. I wouldn't look for him to go too much past the 6th inning.
Smoltz has not been able to solve Olerud tonight. Olerud has singled twice and scored twice. The next pitch will be the 95th thrown by Smoltz. This game is only in the bottom of the 5th inning. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Olerud with 4 consecutive hits dating back to last night.
World Series record, Billy Hatcher had 7 straight in 1990. And Thurman Munson with 6 straight in 76, and then his first at bat in 77.
A full count with 2 outs. That means Winfield will be running from first with the pitch. And Olerud sends it out of play. Atlanta 7, Toronto 2 in the bottom of the 5th inning in Game 5. Winfield off again, Olerud to left field. And Sanders will have all 3 putouts in this inning. We'll return to the SkyDome after this word from your local station.
Stay calm. Just relax. Take a deep breath. La Knott's Landing season premiere next Thursday.
Before Elvis, before the Beatles, there was Sinatra. And there still is.
And now, ladies and gentlemen,
Sinatra.
Frank Sinatra.
The music was just the beginning.
This is CBS.
A suspect is believed to be responsible for a string of brutal robberies in the area. He's managed to elude police for 6 months. Police had a composite sketch of the man and a...
Hi, Shelley, it's me. Yeah, I know that it's late, but you know that guy they've been after? Yeah, the one who's been breaking into the places around here. Well, quick, turn on Action News.
When news breaks, we've got cameras at the scene and the gutsy reporting you need.
Quick, turn on Action News.
Action News, the one on 2.
It's no accident that the land of opportunity is open 24 hours a day. The good life is available, but they don't hand it out on a platter. It's no accident either that Bank of America has longer branch hours, a 24-hour customer service line, and a versatile ATM everywhere you turn around. Hard as America works, you could use a little easy. Banking on America. Bank of America.
It seems Europeans have a passion for certain things American. And one of them happens to be the reliable, efficient delivery of a certain American delivery company, UPS. Fact is, we've built the most comprehensive delivery network in Europe. So next time you need something shipped there, use the outfit Europeans find, well, so fashionable. UPS. We run the tightest ship in Europe.
Wise Guy, tonight at 9 on Channel 2.
Back in the top of the 5th inning, Marvin Freeman, Javier Lopez celebrating the grand slam by Lonnie Smith. Freeman has the ball that accounted for 4 of the 7 Atlanta runs, and the Braves lead 7-2 as they come up in the 6th inning. Sean McDonough along with Tim McCarver, delighted to have you with us for Game 5. And even with our first one-sided game, long way to go and plenty of action again tonight.
That was a great shot by Marvin Freeman when he was saying 4 runs with just 1 ball. That's a pretty good day, huh? Bargain day.
Later we saw Marvin stick the ball in his jacket pocket and wrap his arms around his body as if to say, I have this ball and no one is going to take it away from me.
Unless it's Lonnie Smith.
That grand slam, the 16th in World Series history. Only the 3rd by a National League player. The last National League Grand Slam in World Series play back in 1964 by Ken Boyer, St. Louis. You remember that well, I'm sure.
I surely do. He hit it off Al Downing, an 0-2 pitch that wrapped around the foul pole at Yankee Stadium. And the Cardinals won that game 4-3. The Yankees had scored 3 runs in the top of the 1st inning.
Blauser out on the pop-up and foul ground to John Olerud, 1 down in the 6th.
And you know who played a big part in that game, the game in which Boyer hit the grand slam home run? 2 relievers. One, the manager of the San Francisco Giants, Roger Craig, and the other, Ron Taylor. And Ron Taylor is now the team doctor of the Toronto Blue Jays. How about that? That's something, isn't it?
Damon Berryhill was popped out in foul ground and struck out. He's facing reliever David Wells, who came on to get the final out of the 5th inning.
Ron Taylor, who is the physician of the Blue Jays, also starred in the 1969 World Series victory by the New York Mets.
A ball and a strike on Damon Berryhill. Ron Taylor, a native Canadian. Berryhill with a pop-up. That will find the seats. And for the first time in the 3 games played here at the SkyDome, it is quiet. These people arrived here tonight hoping to see the Toronto Blue Jays wrap up their first ever World Series championship with a win in their home ballpark. There's still a chance for that, but they'll have a lot of work to do over the final innings as Atlanta leads 7-2 with 1 out and the bases empty in the 6th. And the reality of the current situation certainly on the mind of that young fan.
David Cohn charting the game in case it goes to game 6. He hopes he doesn't have to use it.
Broken bat. Lee couldn't get it. Berryhill has just his 2nd hit of the World Series, his 1st since the home run off Morris in the 6th inning of game 1.
He hits it off the end of the bat. It's his 1st hit as a right-handed batter, and just out of the reach of Manuel Lee. John Olerud holding Berryhill on at first. Berryhill, a very slow runner. Lemke with the penchant of hitting the ball the other way. I wouldn't hold him on here.
Lemke went to the right side of the infield his last time up and bounced to second, but in that at bat he was batting from the other side of the plate against Jack Morris. That ground out by Lemke, the last out recorded by Jack Morris. The next 5 Braves all reached and all 5 of them scored. Routine fly to shallow center. Two away in the 6th inning. And friends, we remind you that this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Major League Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the express written consent of Major League Baseball. Otis Nixon, a standout tonight for the Braves, 2 for 3. And he has scored 2 runs. Otis has also stolen 2 bases after a double and a single. One ball and 1 strike. Nixon batting for the first time tonight from the right side of the plate. The hit off Wells by Berryhill, just the 2nd yielded by the Toronto bullpen in this series in 10 innings combined. Olerud snares the line drive by Nixon. That one appeared to be heading for the right field corner. Nixon robbed of his 3rd hit of the night. We go to the bottom of the 6th. The Braves 7 and the Blue Jays 2.
What's that?
It's a consumer survey. They want to know if you're happy with your car.
Oh, I am.
Oh, I know. And as of last night, so does everybody at the Martins' dinner party.
In its first year, the all-new Toyota Camry moved thousands to appreciate that a car could be everything you want and even more than you imagined.
You gave 2 complete strangers a 20-minute test drive.
15. I was 15.
The 1993 Toyota Camry. Few cars actually move you. This is one.
Ooh, darling, I need you so. Never ever gonna let you go. 'Cause I'm the one for you. Hey, I'm the one.
Capture the ones you love without missing out on the fun yourself with a Sony Handycam, America's most popular camcorder.
Under Siege. Gene Siskel, Siskel and Ebert declares Under Siege is one of the best times you're going to have at the movies this year. 2 thumbs up. Siskel and Ebert. Steven Seagal. Under Siege. Rated R. Now playing at a theater near you.
Here. There. Everywhere.
The DeskJet Portable. DeskJet printers from Hewlett-Packard. Make it happen.
For every home run hit in the series, Coke and Major League Baseball will give $5,000 to build and renovate youth baseball fields through the Coca-Cola Homers for America program.
And perhaps there's a bonus for a grand slam. We'll have to find out if there is. Lonnie Smith will make that an even larger contribution tonight. It really ought to be. It's a rare feat.
Sure they should.
Coca-Cola is a generous company.
Well, if Atlanta wins, we'll be down there about 1 o'clock tomorrow, so you can traipse on over to the Coca-Cola Company. That's where the headquarters are, and talk to them about that. I'll be resting.
And we'll get some free samples. 0-2 the count on Maldonado, who has walked twice. 52,268 here in all different types of outfits. It's the second largest crowd ever at the SkyDome for a baseball game. They had 114 more folks here last summer when Toronto hosted the All-Star game. 52,268. The attendance for Game 5.
And what a future for the city of Atlanta, who will be hosting the Summer Olympics in 1996.
They wrested that honor away from the city of Toronto. To right field, Justice only a couple of steps back. 1 out. We've seen Coneheads, but we don't know what we'd call him. Kelly Gruber is struck out and fly to left. He's up with 1 out in the 6th. Atlanta leads 7-2. Gruber at the plate, Borders on deck. Excellent pitch by Smoltz outside part of the plate at the knees. Tim, as we mentioned earlier, even though John Smoltz hasn't been dominating the Blue Jay hitters tonight, good pitchers in these types of games find a way to win them even when they don't have their best stuff.
No, you notice 105 pitches already, and Bobby Cox says John Smoltz is the type of guy, and he told us this, that he could pitch a 9-inning game and throw 160 or 190 pitches.
Although I don't think Bobby Cox would want him to do that.
No, but he was talking about how strong he is, and
2-2 pitch. Fouled away. Well hit to center. Nixon on the run. Nixon on the warning track makes the catch.
Makes it look easy, doesn't he? Both he and Devon White, you just have to marvel at both center fielders. White with that spectacular catch the other night. Both play very shallow. Both go back on balls extremely well. A lot of center fielders would make a difficult play out of that ball hit by Kelly Gruber, but what a great jump by Nixon.
And Pat Borders will be retired for the first time tonight. Blauser throws him out. Smoltz works a 1-2-3 6th. And we go to the 7th with the Braves leading 7-2.
What'll it be, fellas?
Make it a Bud Light.
Sorry. This is the last one.
Well, I think I've been. I'm gonna take that one.
What do you want to give for it? I'm a 2 and a 10. Give me 10, a 20 big. Give me 20 now, 30. Give me 30 now, 40 big. Give me 40 now, 50. Give me 50 now, 60 big. Give me 60 now, 70. Give me 70 now, 80.
If you want great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light.
Bud Light, please.
Sorry, boys. This is the last one.
Let it rain. Let it snow. You've got Michelin's new all-season MX-V4, the luxury performance tire with climate control.
There's a house whose rooms I know by heart, where children grew up and I grew old. A house where I belong.
At the Prudential, the terminally ill can collect their death benefit while they're alive, so they can afford to live out their days not in a hospital, but at home.
There's a house where I belong.
Why do people really like Toyota Paseo? Take this home lie detector test. I like Paseo because A, it's practical, has a driver's side airbag, or B, women dig it. A, it has 100 horsepower performance, or B, women dig it. A, Paseo starts under $11,500, or B, women dig it. Paseo, a very practical car from Toyota.
CBS Sports coverage of Game 5 of the 1992 World Series is brought to you by Toyota and their full line of quality cars and trucks. Toyota, I love what you do for me. Budweiser, the king of beers with that fresh, pure, natural taste. Nothing beats a Bud. And by the Prudential, in a changing world, one thing remains rock solid, the Prudential.
Well, the Midland High School baseball team in Midland, Texas from 1985 has provided this World Series with two players. Mike Stanton, the Braves reliever, a member of that Midland High team, as was Mike Timlin, a right-hander for the Toronto Blue Jays, who was on to make his first ever World Series appearance.
2 games in the American League Championship Series. And David Wells working 1 1/3 innings of scoreless ball. Mike Timlin's first appearance, and what a thrill it must be for him. Heavy sinker baller.
And he's a hard thrower, although he has been bothered by arm trouble. Greeted by Deion Sanders in the top of the 7th, with Atlanta leading 7-2. The Braves needing a win to keep this World Series alive and force a Game 6 back in Atlanta on Saturday. Sanders drove in the first run of the 5-run 5th with a single to center field. He's now 5 for 10 in the World Series. He scored on the grand slam by Lonnie Smith that broke the ball game wide open. Mike Timlin is 26 years old and a big fella, 6'4", 210 pounds. Can you guess where he's from?
Midland, Texas.
Can't slip anything by you.
He was talking about Mike Stanton and saying that Mike was a highly recruited football player. Mike Timlin did not play football, but obviously both played baseball and represented here in the World Series.
Sanders to center, White the catch. White covers a lot of ground, as you mentioned, as does Otis Nixon. Otis mentioned that White, Nixon, and Ricky Sanders all competed in a fastest man competition out in Hawaii. They raced at 3 different distances, and Devon White won all 3. Well, Nixon took kind of a shot at White in the paper, I thought, this morning when he said it doesn't seem to help him steal bases very well. Timlin in with strike 1 to Pendleton as Timlin's former high school teammate Mike Stanton looks on. A ball and a strike on Pendleton. He is starting to produce for the Atlanta Braves. 2 for 3 tonight, 2 doubles, an RBI, and a run scored. That's a fair ball. Pendleton tagged out. Terry didn't bother to run, hoping The home plate umpire Bob Davidson would think the ball got a piece of Pendleton and therefore was a foul ball, but Davidson wasn't going for it.
I think that's exactly what he was thinking. This ball looks like it hit about 6 inches fair. It stays fair, and Terry figures that, well, if I don't try to run, maybe he'll think it hit my foot. Fish ain't biting.
Now David Justice. He's 1 for 2. He had a tremendous home run, a solo shot in the 4th inning off Jack Morris. Was intentionally walked to load the bases, a move that backfired when Lonnie Smith followed with the grand slam. That was in the 5th inning. As Tim mentioned earlier, the Atlanta 3, 4, and 5 hitters came into tonight's Game 5 without an extra base hit from any of the 3 of them over the first 4 games. Well, tonight Pendleton, Justice, and Smith have combined for 4 extra base hits. 2 doubles by Pendleton, the Justice homer, and the Smith grand slam. Alomar throws Justice out. Timlin works a 1-2-3-7. Stretch time at the SkyDome. 7-2 Atlanta.
New, improved Head & Shoulders. Now it works even better to prevent flakes. Presents this edition of 7th Inning Stretch. Do you know who was the only relief pitcher to strike out 11 batters in a World Series game? Think about it, and we'll be back with the answer after this.
In my business, my hair has to look great. And even one flake of dandruff, even one, can wreck the whole thing. So I started using new Head & Shoulders. Yeah, Head & Shoulders is new. Now it gets to 10 times more of the places where dandruff starts. 10 times. No other shampoo has this formula. Even one flake is one too many for me. And new Head & Shoulders works harder at getting them. New Head & Shoulders, because great hair can't have flakes.
The only relief pitcher to strike out 11 batters in a World Series game was Mo Grabowski. 7th Inning Stretch is presented by new improved Head & Shoulders.
How do you feel?
I feel great.
You feel terrible. Do you want to make some money?
Okay.
You feel terrible.
The New York Times calls Night in the City a lively, gripping foray into the urban landscape.
No can do. What's no can do? What's that, a Chinese appetizer?
Not since Raging Bull has there been such a performance.
This is it, man.
Gritty, intense, powerhouse performances from De Niro and Lange.
You want to kill me? I don't give a damn!
I'll bring you home, baby.
Night in the City, rated R. Exclusive New York engagement now playing. Starts tomorrow everywhere.
This is your life, and not a bad one at that. You find the things that work for you, and you stick with them. Like your Toyota Extra Cab Deluxe. It has the power and the payload you need. Plus the reputation for dependability, that's a well-known fact. All the signs of a great relationship.
The biggest inning in this series to date, the 5-run Atlanta 5th. The difference in this ball game as we go to the bottom of the 7th. The Braves leading 7-2. John Smoltz has gone all the way for Atlanta. He's retired the last 4 Blue Jay hitters in a row. Manuel Lee starts the Toronto 7th by taking a ball high and away. He is 0 for 2 tonight, and now 1 for 14 in the World Series. Lee, then the top of the order, White and Alomar. That's low, 2-0. Mike Stanton from
Midland, Texas.
And Pete Smith of Burlington, Massachusetts, warming up in the bullpen.
See how retentive I am?
2-1 now on Lee. Smoltz worked a 1-2-3 6th inning. It was just his second 1-2-3 inning of the night, and the other one was way back in the first. John's up to 113 pitches, giving himself a little pep talk as he delivers the 3-1. That's high for ball 4. Once again, here's Jim Cott.
Well, Tim, you remember when we played in the National League without the designated hitter, how managers would love number 8 hitters that would get 2-out hits to get the pitcher to the plate and get him out of the way. Now, when you look at this game, 7 runs, 10 hits for the Braves, I think of a 2-out hit, and I don't know that there's a bigger 2-out hit in this game than Otis Nixon. It gave John Smoltz just the breather that he needed. These last 2 innings, it's been like he's 20 pounds lighter. And then Nixon stole second. Sanders drove him in. Pendleton doubled, and after the intentional walk, Lonnie Smith put some icing on the cake that could send Atlanta into Game 6 on Saturday with a grand slam home run. And that looks like it's going to be all for John Smoltz as Bobby Cox visits. Well, he may ask him how he feels. Nope, he's going to make a move.
He's going to go to the left-hander, Mike Stanton. Another terrific outing in the postseason for John Smoltz. He heads off with his team ahead 7-2.
Well, look who's here.
Morning, Dennis.
Looks like you did all right. Yeah, not bad. We need 6 good ones for tonight.
Your brother's coming.
Better make it 8. Hey, look at that lobster. Don't worry, Scott. We got a couple for you.
Everybody gets some corn.
This dinner doesn't need a thing.
Wait, it gets better.
Chardonnay.
Has the lobster ever tasted this good?
It's the time of year.
No, it's the wine.
Ernest and Julio Gallo present a very special Chardonnay. It's time for a change to Gallo.
Make it clear. Make it colorful. Make it both. The DeskJet 550C. With DeskJet printers from Hewlett-Packard, it's easy to make it happen.
Do you know what your business would actually save on a call from New York to LA using MCI instead of AT&T? Here's your big savings. Leaving AT&T doesn't make a lot of sense.
Sears! Wow, what a sale! 2 days only. Thousands of items are marked to move. Save 10 to 50% throughout the store. Washers, dryers, refrigerators, and more. Better get them now. Save 10 to 30% on all bath towels. Hey, they gotta go. All mattresses, all formal dining room sets, plus a lot more throughout the store. But this sale absolutely ends Saturday, so if you want to save money, get to Sears today.
You can count on me. Sears Robot and Company.
Friday.
Where can I find some young creature that would appeal to Roland?
Delivery.
Why are the Golden Palace girls playing Cupid?
We were worried you weren't getting any.
Then Major Dad and family are catering up a storm.
Don't tell me you didn't bring them. Then put them on top of the car while I was...
Well, that's good. At least the neighborhood cat's gonna eat well tonight.
Golden Palace and Major Dad, Friday.
You don't have to be a child to be a victim of child abuse. What's happening to these old folks is a crying shame, and you won't believe who's doing it. An all-new Street Stories returns next Thursday.
John Smoltz trying to boost his postseason record to 5-0 if the Braves can hang on and win this one. So now we have 2 pitchers from the 1985 Midland, Texas high school baseball team in this game at the same time. Timlin, the active pitcher of the moment for Toronto, and Mike Stanton has come on for Atlanta.
Stanton has just been brilliant in his 2 World Series. With runners in scoring position, he has retired 17 consecutive batters over a 2-year period, and that is a record.
And that has left us wondering occasionally in this series why he hasn't been the man in there in some of the key spots for the Atlanta bullpen.
Should say that's a record for a relief pitcher. The all-time record held by Allie Reynolds. 22 guys retired with runners in scoring position over a 2-year period in the early 50s.
Blue Jay fans trying to help their team back into the ball game. They're down by 5 and have the lead man on in the 7th inning. Devon White at the plate, 0 for 3 tonight. Manuel Lee, the runner at first. He started the inning with a walk. Jim?
Yeah, I think Bobby Cox got just what he wanted out of John Smoltz. He could not draw this game up any better. Now he goes to Mike Stanton
Tim talked about his impressive World Series performance. The one drawback with Stanton has been his control, but now with a 5-run lead, you're a little more relaxed. Should be able to throw strikes, and I think Cox is saying if my bullpen can't hold this, we don't deserve it.
The ball and 2 strikes on White. He'll be followed by Roberto Alomar.
What makes Stanton so difficult, obviously, he throws a 95-mile-an-hour fastball, but it's also that high leg kick that makes a hitter commit too quickly.
Chop to third. Pendleton gets Lee. Lemke couldn't turn the double play.
It's tough enough to pick up the ball without having to pick up the ball out of that high leg kick that Stanton has. You can see that slider tap to third and Pendleton making sure of 1. What hitters like, they like pitchers who take a nice comfortable windup or work comfortably from the stretch so they can see the ball. It's very difficult to pick it up when you have a pitcher with that high leg kick like Mike Stanton.
Alomar hits a double play ball. Lemke to Blauser, and they turn it with ease. 4-6-3. That ends the inning. We head to the 8th with the Braves leading by 5.
Toyota proudly presents All-Around Champions. Roger Clemens is focused on striking out batters, but he's even more focused on getting his anti-drug message out to the youth of Boston. That's why he takes the time to visit neighborhood playgrounds where he can offer tips on the game of baseball as well as the game of life. Toyota is pleased to salute all-around champion Roger Clemens by contributing $1,000 to Sox Talk.
Let's see what Kevin left us this time.
You mean what he didn't leave us?
Hey guys, thanks for watching the place again. Sorry there's no food, but the Celica's in the garage.
We need eggs.
Definitely eggs.
We gotta have orange juice. Freshly squeezed orange juice. Why don't we get some bacon? Make that Canadian bacon.
The Toyota Celica. Bringing home the bacon has never been so much fun.
The hijackers have the perfect plan, but the airlines have the perfect weapon.
You back your seat.
Wesley Snipes.
You ever play roulette? On occasion. Always bet on black.
Passenger 57, rated R. Starts Friday, November 6th.
Introducing Capio Iced Cappuccino. The rich, smooth taste of cappuccino, only cooler. Capio, it's refreshment Italian style. Capio, so refreshing, so delicious. So try it. New Capio from Maxwell House. The thrill is the chill.
If your business gives up the quality of AT&T International Long Distance and calls Italy with someone else, here's your big savings.
3 coins in the fountain.
Leaving AT&T doesn't make a lot of sense.
This game summary is sponsored by AT&T.
The big hit in this ball game, the 16th Grand Slam in World Series history, hit by Lonnie Smith to turn a 3-2 Atlanta lead into a 7-2 lead. Pat Borders continues hot for the Blue Jays. He's 2 for 3 tonight, has driven in both Toronto runs. David Justice with a home run tonight. A mammoth shot to right field back in the 4th inning. And the 4th pitcher of the night for Toronto is Mark Eichhorn, making his first appearance of the World Series.
In the 5th inning with 2 outs and the bases loaded, Lonnie Smith unloads on a Jack Morris fastball. And that's where it landed.
They're still happy. Oh-2 on Lonnie Smith. The Grand Slam is only hit tonight. He's 1 for 3. Sid Bream to follow, and then Jeff Blauser. Eichhorn has pitched for both the Blue Jays and the Atlanta Braves. The big reason why the Braves were behind in the series 3-1, are behind 3 games to 1. The lack of production from the heart of the order, but not tonight. 4 extra base hits from that trio.
And they have driven in 6 of the 7 runs scored by Atlanta.
Smith beginning the 8th with the Braves leading 7-2. Mike Timlin worked a 1-2-3 inning in the 7th, his only inning tonight. The Toronto bullpen is still unscored upon now in 11 1/3 innings. And over that time, they've allowed a combined total of only 2 hits. Mark Eichhorn has had varying deliveries over his career. When he first started in the Blue Jay organization, he threw more or less straight over the top and didn't stick very long in the major leagues. Was essentially a AAA pitcher. So he went to what was a submarine delivery, and now he's sort of come back somewhere in between.
Very deceptive. We mentioned Mike Stanton's high leg kick. Well, Mark Eichhorn, similar to Stanton in that he jumps at the hitter. He makes the hitter commit early. Stu Miller used to do that with a little head jerk. See that way that Eichhorn comes off the mound? Anything that you can do to make a hitter commit too early is in favor of the pitcher, because the 2 elements of good hitting is to wait and to have quick hands.
Another 2-2 pitch, and finally Eichhorn wins the battle, striking out Lonnie Smith for the first out of the 8th inning. The Atlanta Braves trying to become the 6th team in World Series history to come back from a 3 games to 1 deficit and win the best-of-7 series. The last to do it, Kansas City against St. Louis in 1985. Lonnie Smith, a member of that team.
The Milwaukee Braves did it against the New York Yankees in 1957. That was the year that Lou Burdett won 3 games. I beg your pardon, the Yankees did it the next year against the Braves, but Lou Burdett did win 3 games in 1957.
Bream, it's slicing away from White, but he's there with his speed to get it. Bream is 0 for 4 on 4 fly balls to the outfield. 2 down in the 8th, 7-2 Atlanta. And the batter is Jeff Blauser. Eichhorn's first pitch, a strike. Blauser 1 for 3, a single in the 4th inning. It's just his 2nd hit of the World Series. Alomar a long way to his left to throw him out. Eichhorn works a 1-2-3-8. We go to the bottom of the 8th. The Braves 7 and the Blue Jays 2.
It's only natural that children look to their parents for answers. So to help you explain why some things that may be fine for adults aren't right for children, Anheuser-Busch offers Family Talk, free advice from professionals to use with your kids while they're still learning to be grown up. And their favorite teacher is you. Let's stop underage drinking before it starts.
It has 4 independent motors, an intricate steel frame, even an electronically regulated temperature control system. And that's just the driver's seat. The Lexus ES300 luxury sedan.
Autumn at McDonald's, where our new oven-baked apple pies are ready with their golden, delicious apple filling. Buy one now, and your local McDonald's will donate 25 cents to Ronald McDonald Children's Charities. It'll warm your heart.
In just 45 seconds, this commercial will tell you about all the highly intelligent products from Magnavox. So that means that I have exactly 3.5 seconds to tell you about the ingenious Magnavox 27-inch TV with smart window, leaving me just 5.3 seconds to let you know how incredible this Magnavox CD radio cassette recorder sounds. Oh no, that leaves me only 4.2 seconds to tell you about the brilliant picture on this Magnavox 3-inch LCD TV. Excuse me, I've only got 6.1 seconds to tell you this Magnavox digital shelf system has a carousel CD changer. And I have 1 second to tell you, time is up. What do you mean time is up? What? We've been standing here for hours. Get my agent on the phone. Don't you know who I am? Who timed this commercial?
The ingenious products from Magnavox. They're smart, very smart.
Maybe the greatest World Series moment ever from Game 5, 1964.
Here's a pitch, there goes Groth. There's a drive, way back, it might be out of here. It could be. It is a home run. Tim McCarver being congratulated by everybody. A long drive into the lower section in right field.
Give me a high five.
Congratulated by everybody but you.
I was only 2 years old then.
That was a very, very big moment for me. It's nice of Bob Dekas to show that. Very nice.
The 10th inning. You give the win to your battery mate Bob Gibson for his 10-inning effort against Mel Stottlemyre and the Yankees. Joe Carter stings the first pitch of the 8th into center field. He's 1 for 4 tonight. Blue Jays down by 5 as they bat against Mike Stanton here in the 8th inning.
Mike Stanton with a fastball away, and Joe Carter greets him rudely.
Braves looking for more defense with a 5-run lead. They've inserted Rafael Belliard at shortstop. Jeff Blauser is out of the ballgame. Dave Winfield is at the plate, 1 for 3, a single to center his last time up. John Olerud to follow. Winfield takes a strike. Carter's hit the first off Stanton, the 6th of the night for Toronto. Carter running with the pitch. It's a ball. Berryhill does not try the throw. They weren't holding Carter on, so he took advantage of it.
Why not? If they give it to you, take it. And that's what Joe Carter did. Joe probably thinking you score a run or 2 here, and you narrow the margin to 2 or 3 runs, 3 or 4 runs. Makes it a lot easier in the 9th.
Against an Atlanta bullpen that has not always been solid. Mark Wohlers, the right-hander, warming up. One and one on Winfield. Carter at second with nobody out. Big swing and a foul out of play. Pitch. Winfield fought it off. He had a big hole on the right side of the infield as Mark Lemke had moved to the second base bag, hoping for a throw from Stanton. Stanton looked at him but went to the plate nonetheless, with Lemke standing right on top of second base. Another 1-2 pitch. High and away. Stanton is 25 years old. And he has not given up a hit with a runner in scoring position in his postseason career. Ed Sprague has moved into the on-deck circle to hit for John Olerud. Now the 2-2. He struck him out. With the pitch high and away, Winfield couldn't lay off it. That's the first out of the 8th inning and the first strikeout tonight for Mike Stanton.
Ball clearly out of the strike zone, but with 2 strikes, Winfield swinging futilely.
So now Stanton will deal with the hero of Game 2, Ed Sprague. His pinch hit 2-run homer in the top of the 9th off Jeff Reardon gave Toronto a 5-4 win, the first Toronto win in this series.
Game 2 off Jeff Reardon on the first pitch.
Sprague, the 22nd player in World Series history to hit a home run in his first plate appearance. The 0-1 pitch with Carter running. Joe says, you let me steal second. Now I'll try to take third if you're not going to pay attention to me.
There's a big difference, however, with the first baseman playing behind you and you trying to steal third. You better make sure you make it, because if you don't, it's a terrible play. Joe thought he had a terrific jump there, and I guess he did, but if he gets thrown out there, he looks awfully bad.
Now the 0-2. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Seven to 2 Atlanta in the bottom of the 8th. Sprague with a high fly ball to right. Justice drifts back, and just in front of the track he makes the catch. Carter heading for third. Justice with a good throw, but it's just a bit late. 2 down and a runner at third in the 8th inning. If Atlanta wins tonight, we hope you'll join us Saturday night for Game 6 of the World Series. 8:30 Eastern time, our airtime. David Cohn would be the pitcher for Toronto, while Steve Avery would go for Atlanta. Again, our CBS Sports coverage of Game 6, if necessary, begins at 8:30 Eastern time. Candy Maldonado has walked twice and flied to right. One strike on Maldonado. Like Dave Winfield, the Toronto Blue Jays have to offer Candy Maldonado salary arbitration within 2 days after the end of the World Series, where he becomes a free agent. Very late on the fastball was Maldonado. It's 0-2. That'll be a tough decision for Toronto. They have a bunch of free agents. Their payroll already very high. And they're going to have to spend some money if they're going to keep Winfield and Carter and Manuel Lee. You spend big money to keep Maldonado around when you have Derek Bell waiting to find a place to play.
You also have Jimmy Key and David Cohn to consider.
Tom Henke, another Blue Jay free agent in the offseason. Jimmy Key said that's what made last night's performance that much more special for him. He realized as he was coming off the mound to that Thunder standing ovation that might well have been his last performance in a Toronto uniform. Been a member of the Blue Jays since 1984. Last night was certainly his proudest moment. Chopped off the plate. Pendleton looked like he had trouble finding it. Perhaps he lost it in the lights that are low here at SkyDome. The Blue Jays threaten but do not score, and as we go to the 9th, Atlanta continues to enjoy a 5-run lead.
Imagine for a moment a performance car. One with a 4-cam, 32-valve, 250 horsepower V8. Any names come to mind?
Our federal government has become a study in waste, a study in how elected officials cater to special interests rather than serve the interests of the American people. A bureaucracy that has poured $100,000 into a study of how to avoid falling spacecraft, $250,000 to study TV lighting for the U.S. Senate, and $19 million to study gas emissions from cows. The American people need to teach Washington a lesson in economics. We need to choose a candidate with the business sense to streamline spending and balance budgets. A candidate who will stop our government from throwing away our hard-earned money. This is no time to waste our votes on politics as usual. It is time for a candidate who will get down to business. It is time for Ross Perot.
Still going. Nothing outlasts the Energizer battery. It keeps going and going and...
Still a 5-run lead for the Atlanta Braves as we go to the 9th inning in Game 5 of the 1992 World Series. A couple of changes for Toronto. Ed Sprague remains in the ballgame. He's the first baseman, having hit for John Olerud in the bottom of the 8th. And the new pitcher for the Blue Jays, the 5th Toronto hurler of the night, is Todd Stottlemyre.
The Toronto Blue Jays bullpen has just been almost perfect. They have worked 12 1/3 innings in this World Series. They've given up no runs and 2 hits in 12 1/3 innings. And Stottlemyre has been a part of that.
And not many remain in the bullpen. Tom Henke and Dwayne Ward, the 2 big guns out of that bullpen. Not needed at the moment with their team down by 5. Ward with 2 wins in this series and Henke with 2 saves. Stottlemyre greeted by Damon Berryhill, who's 1 for 3, a single to center in the 6th inning. Berryhill, the last Brave to reach with that single in the 6th that came off David Wells. He retired the next 2 hitters. Then Timlin retired all 3 he faced in the 7th, and Eichhorn set down 3 in a row last inning. All 7 runs off the starter Jack Morris, who lasted only 4 2/3. A ball and 2 strikes as Stottlemyre works to Berryhill, Lemke on deck, and then Nixon is due. Two and 2. In the bottom of the 9th, the Blue Jays have the bottom third of their order due up. Kelly Gruber, Pat Borders, and Manuel Lee. Struck him out. Berryhill has fanned twice tonight and now 10 times in 5 games in this series.
Todd Stottlemyre, a very hard thrower. We mentioned his dad, Mel Stottlemyre, who pitched in the 1964 World Series for the Yankees. So Todd and Mel becoming the 2nd father and son pitching combination to work in the World Series. The others, Jim Bagby and his son, Jim Bagby Jr.
Now, was your home run that we saw off Mel Stottlemyre?
No, it's off Pete Mickelson.
That's well struck and a base hit for Lemke. Lemke's 2 for 4 tonight. Made a loud noise off the bat of Lemke, but not loud enough. Lemke at first with one down in the top of the ninth. The Braves lead 7-2. That was their 11th hit. Otis Nixon hit the ball crisply tonight. He's 2 for 4 with a double and a single. He has stolen 2 bases and scored 2 runs, and last time up he hit a bullet down to first that John Olerud snared along the line. Stottlemyre took a little off that one and got it over. A ball and a strike on Nixon.
Baseball has always amazed me about how frenetic it can be at times. That 5th inning when the Braves exploded for 5 runs with 2 outs.
Up the middle, base hit.
And the last 3 innings, very calm, back to a rhythmic pace. There's a big gap in between what happened in the 5th inning and what has happened over the last 3 innings.
Otis Nixon has settled into a rhythm tonight. 3 for 5. He now has 6 hits in the series. Deion Sanders up with 2 men on and 1 out. Braves trying to build on a 5-run lead. Sanders 1 for 4 with an RBI single to center in the 5th inning. He also scored in the 5th on the grand slam by Lonnie Smith. If you're just tuning in, that was the big hit in the ball game. These 2 teams played ping pong for the first 5 innings. Atlanta jumped ahead 1-0 with a run in the first. The Blue Jays tied it with a run in the second. Atlanta scored a run in the 4th to make it 2-1, but the Jays scored 1 in the bottom of that inning. But then 5 runs in the 5th. The last 4 on the grand slam by the man in the middle of that picture, Lonnie Smith.
Well, maybe the Atlanta Braves attribute it to the cast that was removed off the right leg of Greg Olson last Monday. When he had that cast on, Greg was saying that the players were rubbing the cast for good luck in Game 7 of the NLCS. And it worked. Greg is out of the cast. Now he's the regular catcher for the Atlanta Braves, and there's the cast. And what a cast the Atlanta Braves have had tonight playing for them on the field.
The entire cast signed the cast. Looks like something out of a museum.
Yeah, a cast museum. The House of Wax.
Sanders with a shallow fly to center. White couldn't get it. Looked like he kind of ambled in. Perhaps he was trying to decoy the runners. But Sanders has a smile as he has his 2nd hit of the night.
I don't think he picked the ball up. And if Deion Sanders, you can see him looking up right there.
He didn't see it.
No. Often a center fielder can hear the crack of the bat. I think Sanders broke his bat on that ball. And your natural instinct is to break back and then in. And he broke in too late.
3 straight singles have loaded the bases with 1 out in the 9th for Atlanta against Todd Stottlemyre. Braves trying to score their first run against the Toronto bullpen in this series. Terry Pendleton is 2 for 4 tonight with a couple of doubles, almost identical doubles, right along the right field line. Terry drove in a run with his double in the 1st and scored after doubling in the 5th. Maldonado with Lemke tagging. Lemke will try it. Maldonado's throw to Borders on the fly, and Lemke is out. Great throw by Candy Maldonado all the way to the plate in the air, and Borders was waiting for Mark Lemke.
This is the 3rd assist for Candy Maldonado in postseason play. Fine throw to nail Lemke.
We head to the bottom of the 9th. The Braves still up by 5.
2 high-nutrition cereals.
Kellogg's Just Right.
Total.
So what makes one top the other?
Kellogg's Just Right has 100% of 12 vitamins and minerals.
So do we.
Kellogg's Just Right also has 4 hearty grains, sweet dates, crunchy almonds, juicy raisins.
Well, Total has none of those things.
So it's no surprise 4 out of 5 people prefer Just Right.
Ever feel like just disappearing?
Thought you'd never ask.
Kellogg's Just Right. The taste makes it just better.
Finally, a chance to get away.
Moments like this call for Gold MasterCard.
We could find a romantic hotel.
In Paris?
It has the added credit you've earned.
You could sneak off to the beach.
Yeah, Maui.
Plus, no card is accepted in more places at home and abroad.
Or we could take a trip we'll all remember.
Gold MasterCard, the best gold card to master the moment.
I try to ignore my sensitive teeth, but they hurt.
Sensodyne helps stop the pain that can make you stop brushing, could lead even to tooth loss. And now, Sensodyne has fluoride.
Fluoride, great.
New Sensodyne helps stop the pain of sensitive teeth.
Autumn at McDonald's, where our new oven-baked apple pies are ready with their golden, delicious apple filling. Buy one now, and your local McDonald's will donate 25 cents to Ronald McDonald Children's Charities. It'll warm your heart.
Starting now, there are 2 kinds of clean, whisk and without, cause there's a whole new kind of detergent, new Whisk Power Plus. Whisk without. Now there's a clean you're proud of, whisk, and a clean without. On greasy stains like this, ordinary detergents barely budge the grease. Even detergents with bleach can't really move it. Only Whisk Power Plus has a unique organic cleaning system. Watch. When it comes to clean, now you're either whisk or without. Whisk!
Well, the Toronto Blue Jays are to win their first World Championship on their home turf tonight. They'll need to match that 5 spot put on the board by Atlanta in the 5th inning. They need 5 to tie and 6 to win in the bottom of the 9th against Mike Stanton. Kelly Gruber leads off 1-0 the count. 2-0 the count.
Here was that tag play to end the top of the 9th inning. Sometimes catchers have to make that slap tag with the ball in the glove. The catcher's not designed to make that play, but that was his only choice.
Stanton throwing hard, perhaps too hard. You saw Berryhill gesturing to him to calm down a bit. 3-0 the count on Gruber. Borders on deck, and then Manuel Lee is scheduled. Strike over the inside part of the plate.
Mark Wohlers, the young right-hander, up and throwing for Atlanta.
And Stanton has battled back to a full count. He's pitched 2 innings of scoreless relief. Still 3-2. Gruber now 1 for 14 in the series. Bobby Cox's Chargers 3 outs away from forcing Game 6. And by winning tonight, they would send the World Series back to Atlanta for Game 6 and Game 7 if necessary. Game 6 Saturday night right here on CBS. Nixon 1 out.
If these 2 teams do meet on Saturday, it'll be Steve Avery, the left-hander, who started Game 3 and went 7 1/3 innings and pitched well against David Cone, the right-hander, who went 4 1/3 innings in Game 2 and pitched poorly.
Popping fastball from Stanton to Pat Borders. Both Cone and Avery have been erratic. They're really capable of a dominating performance, and they're both capable of the kind of struggle that Cone endured earlier in this World Series. Avery had an outing in the League Championship Series against Pittsburgh, in which he lasted only 1/3 of an inning.
But he was hit. That's the big difference between the two. David Cohn, the regular season, and I think that is primarily the difference in the two pitchers. If the Toronto Blue Jays get to Avery, they're going to have to hit him, but there is a chance for David Cohn to be wild, and that was one of his problems in Game 2, his first appearance.
The 3-1 to Borders is a strike at the knees.
But you're right, either pitcher could be dominating.
That's one of the appealing elements of this series. You could say that just about every night.
That's right.
With the starting pitchers that these two teams throw out there. There will have to be a lot of magic in that rally cap if the Blue Jays are going to pull this one out. Another 3-2. Chopped down to third. Long throw for Pendleton, again on the turf, handled by Bream for the second out.
That's by design, and the reason that Terry Pendleton does this, the ball gets there quicker. It's that simple. A lower throw will get to the target quicker than a higher throw, and that's why Terry uses the artificial surface. That's for the second time up here, but obviously he can't make that same type play in Atlanta with natural grass.
Stanton missed with the fastball to Manuel Lee. Batting for himself with his team down by 5. He's 0 for 2 tonight with a walk. The Braves 1 out away from forcing Game 6 back at Atlanta Fulton County Stadium. The fans down there will have a chance to chop back at Kelly Gruber.
And Roberto Alomar.
2 balls and a strike. Perhaps it is the lucky cast of Greg Olson that propelled Atlanta to this apparent victory tonight. 3 balls and a strike. If Lee can reach, Devon White would bat next. And Robbie Alomar would move into the on-deck circle. Full count now. The Blue Jays down to their final strike in Game 5. And if this score stands, John Smoltz would be the winning pitcher. And he'd be 5-0 in his career in postseason play. Only Lefty Gomez, among all pitchers in history, would have a better lifetime postseason record. And that's the case as Sid Bream makes the catch. Mike Stanton and the Atlanta Braves will head home for Game 6. The final score in Game 5, the Atlanta Braves 7 and the Toronto Blue Jays 2. We'll be back and join Pat O'Brien and Jim Cott after this.
We're in the money. We're in the money. We've got a lot. We're in the money. The skies are sunny. We've got a lot of what it
Ah, isn't it wonderful? A tire so special, it may last as long as you own your car. The XH4. Congratulations. It's a Michelin.
A family of cops takes on a family of thugs.
You guys handle this bust, or is this bust gonna handle you?
Wednesday, the Hat Squad.
Someday, these movies will be on cable. Someday, these movies will be in video stores. But next month, these movies will only be on CBS.
And so Atlanta wins on the road after 6 consecutive World Series losses on the road. They break through and beat the Blue Jays 7-2, the largest amount of victory in this year's World Series. And so we go to Game 6. The Chevrolet player of the game is, guess who? Lonnie Smith of the Atlanta Braves. Chevrolet will donate $1,000 in his behalf to the Special Olympics, and he is standing by right now with Jim Cott. There he is, Kitty.
All right, Pat, the big blow in the game, Lonnie Smith's grand slam home run. Lonnie, when you left home plate, it's like I knew I got enough of that one.
Well, I felt I hit it well enough to at least get it off the wall, and I saw Joe Carter go back and continue to go back, and I started screaming, get out of here, and when I saw it finally clear the wall, I was really happy.
You have had a chance now to face Jack Morris several times. What was it like in that at-bat? Any adjustments you're making against him?
Not really. I know Jack can come at you with a good fastball, an excellent split finger, and even an occasional slider. I was just hoping to put the ball in play somewhere, and it appeared that he got a fastball up and out over the plate, and I just tried to go with it.
This seems to be the postseason barnstorming tour for Lonnie Smith, the World Series. You're in every one, but now when you're on a ball club that's down 3-1 like you guys were coming into tonight, all the experience that you've had, what was it like in the clubhouse for the Braves in terms of the mood?
Well, it was pretty much our everyday mood. We knew it was do or die night. We had a little meeting, and a couple of guys spoke, and we figured if we lose it, let's at least give them a game. But we felt that we were still capable of winning tonight and taking it back to Atlanta.
Lonnie Smith, congratulations on your grand slam home run. Yes, we are going back to Atlanta, but first let's go back to Pat O'Brien.
All right, Kitty, little irony there. And Lonnie Smith, he was a member of the '85 Royals that came back from a 3-1 deficit against St. Louis. Only one of 5 teams to do that. The Royals beat the Jays in the LCS that year, so the irony there for Lonnie Smith. We'll be back in a moment from SkyDome. Stay with us.
Presenting the Fisher-Price 3-in-1 tournament table,
Breakfast is ready. One more ball, Mom.
where a simple game of pool is just the beginning.
Time for lunch.
Soon, it explodes into an all-out tournament with table tennis balls flying
Dinner's ready.
and a glide hockey game so fast and furious.
Good night, boys.
There's no telling how long you'll play.
One more game.
The Fisher-Price 3-in-1 tournament table, table tennis, hockey, pool. Batteries not included.
Why get an inferior shave when you could have the best? Why choose ordinary lubrication when you could have the richest? Why settle for average protection against razor irritation when you could have the most advanced, giving you the closest shave with less irritation? Edge Gel. Ultimate closeness. Ultimate comfort. That's the edge.
Finally, a chance to get away. Moments like this call for Gold MasterCard.
We could find a romantic hotel.
In Paris? It has the added credit you've earned.
We could sneak off to the beach.
Yeah, Maui. Plus, no card is accepted in more places at home and abroad.
Or we could take a trip we'll all remember.
Gold MasterCard, the best gold card to master the moment.
Not much celebrating tonight at SkyDome as the Braves break through 7-2, and the Toronto Blue Jays now lead 3 games to do. Let's go down to Kitty Cott, who's with Steve Avery, who gets the ball on Saturday night. Kitty?
Steve Avery will get another chance. Looking forward to it. And you pitched a great game the other night, even in that tough loss. But what did you learn from the Blue Jay hitters, or what will you come out in Game 6? Will you change anything?
I'll try and go right at them again. I learned that they're an aggressive team and they're a good mistake-hitting club. And like I said before that game, I knew that if I made too many mistakes, they're going to hit them, and I gave up the 2 home runs, but pretty much limited them to that. And most games, if I go out and pitch like that, I'm going to win. So hopefully I'll get the same results. 2
mistakes in an entire game, not too bad. He'll get another chance on Saturday night to try to even up this series. Let's go back to Pat O'Brien.
All right, Kitty, thank you. Steve, thank you. Once again, the final score of Game 5, Atlanta 7, Toronto 2. But the Toronto Blue Jays still lead the series 3-2 as we head south. Tomorrow is a travel day, and we'll have Game 6 for you on Saturday night at 8:30 Eastern time. So we hope you'll join us for that.
CBS Sports coverage of Game 5 of the 1992 World Series is brought to you by the ingenious products from Magnavox. They're smart, very smart. Budweiser, the king of beers, who reminds you friends know when to say when. And by Toyota and their full line of quality cars and trucks. Toyota, I love what you do for me.
You've been watching the 1992 World Series on CBS Sports, and so with Lonnie Smith's Grand Slam, we're all taking the midnight train to Georgia, home of the Happy Braves. Good night, everybody. See you Saturday.